I didn't know that it was whatever. I'm in like these bourbon groups and shit. And they've got like bottles like this bottle, people are selling for like $150. And I'm like, I can get that for 35 at any grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
They've got that Four Roses stuff I got for like $50. People sell that for 200 on there. Like people just can't find bourbon outside of Northeast Ohio.
Getting a live rolling.
Gotcha.
You guys want to share on the old Facebook?
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah, we can do that.
Doing it now.
So this is our first episode back on the actual podcast site. So Buzzsprout, Pandora, Spotify. Sorry, we've been absent for about 4 weeks. We've been doing the show live on Zoom and Facebook, but we're back. So you'll be listening to this on the actual podcast website. But we're also doing a live as well, so that way we can continue some content for the Facebook and everything. So we'll get the show started here in just a moment. Hello to our Facebook audience.
Boom.
So yeah, you'll see we're back in studio today.
Oh.
We've been pretty responsible for, I'd say, 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
You know, so
that's pretty fucking good for us.
Right, I agree.
Yeah, it's I mean, you know, the Zoom thing's cool. Technology advancements are a benefit, but you know, there's no substitute for
Quality.
For quality and being in a studio with your comrades.
Quality sound and hanging with the dudes. You know, so it was time to get back, and I think 4 weeks is a pretty good time.
Yeah, we're all 6 feet apart still, too.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I can't fingertip Chris. I can't fingertip Jesse over there. So we're still within our reason. And, you know, as we've explained on previous shows, we're also still at our jobs and stuff pretty distant and stuff as well. So
not this week.
Well, Chris might be going. Well, Chris is on. Oh yeah, we'll get into that here in a second. Let me share this real quick.
We're at 797.
I know we gotta get up to that 800, man.
What are you talking about?
Likes.
Oh, nice.
Getting there.
Like our stuff.
No, seriously.
Yeah, go like our Facebook. If you're listening to this on a podcast listening site, go to facebook.com/Made to Motivate podcast and click the little thumbs up button. We'd appreciate it.
We're also on Twitter and Instagram.
We're on the tweet. We twat. We post stuff on Insta. Jesse recently is somewhat controlling the Twitter. So
it's so
if
difficult.
you don't like the posts, it's Jesse. If you like it, it's probably me in the middle of the night posting something. So
on Twitter, we are at MTM Podcast Akron.
Yep. So yeah, you can find it on there. But I think if you just search Made to Motivate Podcast, you'll also find it. That handle was just too long for us to do Made to Motivate Podcast as our actual sound. So
dude, I have 3 Twitter accounts right now. I've got my personal one that I always used. I've got my one that's specifically for Sports Illustrated, and then I also have the Made to Motivate one. And I'll be scrolling through and like liking and replying to stuff, and then I'll realize like, oh shit, I'm on Made to Motivate. Like that's not, and then I'll have to like go back, delete it, and then repost them under like Sports Illustrated or my personal.
Got to keep track of all that.
Whoops. All right. Well, I think we'll go ahead and get the show started. That's enough jibber jabber. So we'll get into the actual show. Jesse doesn't have our cool doing it live soundbite, but
sorry,
we'll skip it.
You know what time it is.
Podcast Tuesday! Live from Made to Motivate.
Podcast.
On a Tuesday night. Damn it!
God damn it. Oh man, this feels good. Back in studio, Made to Motivate Podcast. This is your host, Ryan Weiss. I am joined, as always, by my co-host, Jesse Young from Sports Illustrated. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic now that we're back in studio.
Yeah, man, it's good to see you. We've got friend of show, Chris, the film freak Kessinger. How you doing, sir?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm doing all right, man. Just loving being back here. That's all I'll say.
Absolutely. Man, it's hard to go without seeing your friends.
Yeah.
I mean, a month is a long time. This would have been 5 weeks had we not gone back to in studio. 5 weeks apart, separation. You know, that's tough. Especially, I
man.
mean, I'm a pretty social person. Hanging out with my friends and being with people is very important to me. So it definitely feels good to be back out. How are you guys feeling being in studio? What's going on? What's new since last week, personally, professionally?
I got a couple of things that I did this week that were cool.
Okay.
I went shooting for the first time in probably close to a year. I took
Wow.
my wife. I took my younger sister. Had our own lane down in North Canton at a place called American. What was it called? American Sporting, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was my first time ever going there. I'll post the link to them because they were fantastic. Still got it, man.
What are you packing?
Glock 19, and then I've got a 38 special little Smith & Wesson. I was accurate with that.
Yeah.
Little snubs. I hadn't shot it yet. Get the job done, but that Glock, man, I'm surgical.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, still working on some articles. Got a new one up, getting currently fact checked. It's about the Detroit Lions, Barry Sanders, who's the greatest running back of all time. And other than that, just been trying to, operate the Twitter, get some momentum with everything that we've got going on. And I've been doing a lot of meetings. That's one thing, though. I had a meeting every single day this week for school, which is not the norm. So
Yeah.
we're going and going and going.
And let me
trying to get you up to date. Like, what's with the excessive meetings?
So I have mandatory 2 meetings every single week, which is our teacher-based teams. So that's when me, 4 other people in my program get together. We talk about, who's doing work, who have we reached out to, what's the plan going forward, going over some stuff for next year. But we recently got reviewed by a dropout prevention program, which I've talked about on the show before.
Yeah.
Well, we got their answers back about what they feel we should do.
Yeah.
So I'm also part of our building leadership team. So I represent my program as like the entire building.
Okay.
And we
Ambassador.
usually we do once a month meetings. And now we are going to weekly just because of all the COVID stuff. Now this Georgia stuff.
Georgia.
The committee is from Georgia.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And we've just been kind of operating that way. So like making sure that, because a lot of stuff isn't just for us, it's also for the district to make changes.
Right.
They were really worried because we weren't sure if our levy was going to pass. Luckily it did. But now it's kind of just like, okay, what is it going to look like in the fall? Are we going to do blended learning? If we are, what are we going to do? Let's hash this out. We need to figure it out because we as a committee kind of determine what happens in our building.
Gotcha.
So they have representatives from every program, and then we kind of just have to collaboratively work and figure out what's going to go down. So
Cool.
A lot of stuff happening.
Cool. Chris, you had something to say? You were asking Jesse something?
I was just saying, in regards to his articles, guys, definitely go read this man, because just because he got the Sports Illustrated tag now, he is not resting on his laurels. This guy does all of the work. He does all of the factual information. I'm blown away by how much statistics you put into each one of your articles.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's true.
I'm currently working on a new Michael Jordan LeBron article, finding out some new facts that are not included in the stuff that I already have. When I personally wrote it the first time, I didn't have any aspirations or anything for Sports Illustrated. It was before any of this stuff happened. So
you were a young lad.
It has a little bit of bias to it, but I plan on making one that is completely unbiased, all factual. It will not have any take on who's the greatest, even though everybody knows I personally think LeBron. But so far I've gone through who are the Hall of Famers that they faced in their time, how many Hall of Famers played during their careers versus how many they actually had to play against in the postseason. Matchups and stuff like that. So that is on the horizon coming in a couple of weeks.
Nice. Did you get your bio and everything is all set up on there?
We're still working on the bio. For some reason, when they made it, I had a duplicate account made, which I do not have access to.
Yeah.
So right now, whenever you click on it, you can still search me by name. It's sportsillustrated.com/author/Jesse Unk. And all my stuff can be found there, if not in their actual timeline based on team. But as far as the actual biography goes, I don't have a picture or a description of me as of yet, but they are working on it.
Yeah, do that picture.
Yeah, we do.
I think downtown is a really cool, you like standing right in the middle of Main Street or something with no cars or no people.
Yeah, I think that'd be dope.
Really blurred out background, and then you would be super dope. So we need to plan doing that. Just go out and do it.
Yeah, man, I'm down.
Chris, anything new and exciting from you from last week?
Well, I recently checked out Bad Trip, which was supposed to hit theaters last weekend. Did not, obviously. And yeah, it's an interesting movie starring Eric Andre and Lil Rel Howery.
Okay.
And it's basically a hidden camera buddy road trip comedy. Hilarious, completely hilarious. And it blew me away for how good it really was. I recommend it. I think it might be the comedy of the year right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's big.
But besides that, just on vacation this week, man. Started it yesterday at 4:00, and it's beer 30 every day.
Right.
Nice.
What do you got, Jesse? What do you got over there? Show the camera. So Jesse brought a little celebratory drink with us being back.
Is that on there? Did it make it?
It's so
With us
good.
being back in studio. So we've got some Weller.
Weller Special Reserve. Fantastic pour if you're a bourbon drinker.
Very
Some
nice.
people prefer the antique, but I do not. I'm a green label guy, not a red label.
Yeah. So we got some drinks. I picked us up some donuts so we could snack on some donuts from Dunkin' Donuts. And just hang out. Not much new. So Chris, you're back to work. You're on vacation, or you're off work because you're on vacation.
Mhm.
Watch the movies, hanging out.
What about you?
Not much new for me. Same working. Kind of wondering what's going to happen with all the changes. We'll get into COVID updates here a little later on. But as far as week over week, nothing too new and exciting. Did I do anything new? Did I build anything new?
Yeah. Yes, you did.
Got plans for things getting built soon, right? I mean, in the coming weeks.
The deck. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking to build a nice deck and pergola or patio. At my house, I want to do like a nice hangout place, so we have somewhere to hang out after the show and summer stuff. So, designed a deck. Just got to order the supplies and stuff, so that way I can get that built. Outside of that,
You brought that rail to life, your friend's rail.
oh yeah, I did I built a railing for somebody. They had a rusted out iron railing on their front door. Tore that out. Built a new wood painted black railing there. That was a bitch. I'm not
Really?
even gonna lie. So he's got it's a concrete patio, like just a concrete stairs at their front door, but the previous owner had nature stone put in. You guys know what
That's
nature
what I was gonna
stone
ask
is?
you.
Oh man.
So there's nature stone over the concrete.
It looked like carpet. I'm like, what
Bro,
the hell is this?
So my buddy JC said the exact same thing. He messaged me and he was like, "What the fuck is on that stairs? Is that made of carpet?"
yeah.
And I was like, "No, it's nature stone." But I had to. I mean, it was an old iron one that they probably built before they nature stone, so it was already hooked into the concrete.
Mhm.
Well, he had all this nature stone over top, so I had to mount, be able to mount these posts to it. Dude, I think I broke off like 8 screws. They just would not mount into the concrete. They were just snapping in half. And these were concrete screws.
Yeah.
Eventually I got it in place though, real strong. Looks good. His neighbor actually came over and was like, "Hey, I really like that." He wants me to build one for him. So I might.
Nice.
I don't want to it's one of those things because they were asking me when I was doing that. He's like, "Why don't you do this full time? Like, you see all your stuff you're really good at." And it's one of those things where it's like, when you do it as a hobby, you enjoy it. You do it on your own time.
Yeah.
There's no obligation. You're not relying on it for income. So it's much different. If I did that day in, day out, and that was my sole means of living and surviving, I'd hate it.
Yeah.
Right.
So now when I can do it on my own in my free time, cool. Like if I can do side projects like that and make a little money, I'm all for it. But I don't want to do that for a living. So
But that painted black looks sharp though.
It looked
I think you really
good.
brought that to life. man.
Yeah.
If you just leave that at the wood coloring, I think it just looks artificial on the house, like a tacked on project.
right.
That black makes it paint in really well.
Yeah, it matches well. Their doors painted black, their shutters are
Yeah.
black, so
Yeah.
it worked out good. New stickers. I got new stickers.
Yes.
You guys got any of those? Let me
I
take
got 3 of them.
So, will you hand me the other one in there, Oompa Loompa?
Yeah.
We're missing one.
You got
And will you hand me Dementors?
you got my favorite one. That mine's at home.
So, new stickers on my Etsy. So check out etsy.com/shop/Rock Everywhere Inc. ROCKEVERYWEARINC. Rock Everywhere. It's my old clothing company. Still doing it, but I got back into art earlier this year, and I've been doing a bunch of stickers. So we've got the prison mic. The Dementors. What's the worst? What was the worst thing about prison? The Dementors. So I don't know if you can see that real well, but it says the Dementors like coming out of his mouth there. And then on his bandana, I put the Deathly Hollows symbol and stuff. So we got Prison Mike. This one. All right, guys, if you're interested in this one, look, it's a joke. It's funny. This speech will go down in history. Probably one of the dumbest things a president ever said. It's not racist. It's from China. Etsy will not let me sell these. They took it off their website. They said that they don't want to promote anything to do with COVID right now. People are going through hard times and they just don't think it's appropriate. So if you want one, message me. I'm still selling them. I might get them on Amazon or through PayPal and stuff. We can set up ordering directly. One of my favorites, and I feel very gracious to Jesse. He put this in his article about Michael Jordan and LeBron. It's linked on my Etsy, so you can see his article. But this is the LeBron Jordan split face inspired by The Last Dance.
And that's not Photoshop or anything. That's hand drawn.
Yeah, these are all hand drawn.
I think that's the best creatively.
I love this one. I think it came out dope. Yeah, that one I really love.
That one's my favorite.
So the next one, this was Jesse's gift for his birthday, and a congratulations on officially getting accepted into writing for Sports Illustrated. It's the Tom Brady.
It's the GOAT, my favorite player.
Jesse's obsessed with Tom Brady. This lists on my website that it's the official Jesse on sticker. If you know me, I'm not a Tom Brady fan, but I'm not a Tom Brady fan. I'm a Steelers fan. But can't knock him. The dude's an amazing athlete. So Tom Terrific, if you're a fan of that gentleman and or the Patriots, you can get a Tom Terrific. And then one of my favorites, and seems to be a lot of people's favorites, is the I Am Sprout.
Yeah.
So Baby Groot stole Spider-Man's mask and is out to save the world.
I want that movie.
I know. This one's extremely detailed. If you look at it up close, I spent a lot of time doing the details on the mask and the coat.
Yeah, it's my favorite artistically.
So this one's real cool. But anyways, these are on my Etsy. I've got a bunch of other ones on there. I've got some Baby Yodas and Made to Motivate stickers. I actually have a bunch of other ones I need to add on that are Rock Everywhere stickers. They're all $3 a piece, free shipping. Check it out. Support local.
Yeah.
I would certainly appreciate it.
All weather
or which now? Crap.
Yeah, they're thick. They're all weather. They
UV. They're UV protected. They're waterproof. I have the back window of my Jeep is filled with them all, and they've been on there for a long time. They don't fade. They're cool stickers. Anyways, they're art. Put them on a Yeti. Put them on your laptop. Put them on your bumper sticker. Put them on somebody's face. I don't know. Do what you want with them.
Slap them on some people's random cars to support your podcast.
Yes, please slap them on cars. Make sure you tag me on Instagram if you purchase one or anything like that.
Didn't something come from this one? Like, wasn't there like some kind of Twitter conversation or something? I could have sworn.
I don't know. There might have been. I don't know.
Maybe
I don't know.
Okay.
Hey, maybe start tweeting about Michael Jordan versus LeBron. We're waiting to get Romeo Travis is going to come on as a guest.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Romeo, we've been in conversation with Romeo Travis. We're going to get him on as a guest, and just talk about his career and being part of the Fab Five and playing professionally. You're in European NBA, whatever it is. I don't know what it's called.
Euro League.
Don't quote me. Jesse would know. But anyways, so yeah, that's it from last week. That's probably our longest intro. We're talking a lot of sports stuff.
Yeah.
Just hop into locker room talk. We can kind of go from there.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do locker room talk, guys.
Locker room.
It's locker room time.
Swung and lined to deep left field. It is gone! 45-40. Run, William, run! 20, 15.
Iguodala to Curry. Back to Iguodala. Up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the...
This is locker room talk.
I mean, LeBron's obviously the GOAT. He's in our intro, and Jordan isn't.
That's all right.
But, I mean, I don't want to knock it because Jordan's dope.
There ain't nothing wrong with silver.
Dude, wow. Jordan's dope. Okay, for me, it's hard to it's hard. We've talked about this last week, I think.
Yeah.
Because what are we on now? We're getting into 5 and 6 tomorrow.
5 and 6
Yes.
tomorrow. Yep.
So we've talked about The Last Dance. And well, one, this isn't even, I don't even think in our topics for today. It might be. I think Chris is a little special. With his movie reviews and stuff, he's got like special media behind the scenes access, and he's already watched the entire series at this point. So
except for the last 2 episodes.
Except for the last 2. But he's got a little behind the scenes insider stuff. And so we were talking after the show last week, or after watching 3 and 4, and the timeline is weird. Okay. Like 3 was all about Rodman, and then you get into 4 and it's part of it's in 98, then it's in 1984.
Double linear storyline.
Yeah. And Chris understands what they were doing. With me, I'm struggling a little bit with it because it just bounces around a lot. But anyways, the show's dope.
Yeah.
Watching it, it's so hard for me to like place Jordan versus LeBron because they played at 2 different times, and just Jordan excelled at what he excelled at. LeBron excels at what he excels at. They're both extremely good athletes. Watching them play each other in their prime would be amazing if that's some way fucking Steve. Oh, shit. I was going to say Steve Jobs. That's real shitty of me. Say he could like create something to make that happen. Wow. I apologize. That is awful. Bill Gates, maybe. Elon Musk. Someone. God, I feel like I'm sorry. That was awful. I am a huge Steve Jobs fan too, by the way. So I apologize. That was really awful. But I was just thinking because he's a genius. That's why his name came to mind. The dude's a genius and creates amazing stuff. But if there was some way to take like some kind of algorithm about like the way that they played and stuff, and have they done that? Like simulated a Jordan versus LeBron? Like
they've done stuff like that where it's done on 2K and everything. And there's nothing that's been done extensively that I know of.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just one of those things you're never going to know. You're never going to know if Ali fought Tyson, who would win. You're never going to know if Babe Ruth could play in today's leagues. That type of stuff that's what makes.
I feel that.
That's what makes the generational argument so hard, because you've got different eras. You've got the 80s and the 90s. You've got the 2000s, 2010s, now going into the 2020s.
Right.
It's the same thing with Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Walter Payton, Emmitt Smith. I mean, they all played different times, different eras. You'll never know for sure.
Yeah.
But there are arguments that can be made.
So like Jesse said a little earlier, he's writing a new article, LeBron versus Jordan, because his first one was pretty biased and it's not fit for Sports Illustrated because you have to be fact-based and
you can't be so opinionated.
You can't be so opinionated. Yeah. So I'd be interested. I'm excited to read that because I'd like to see it in just a different light. Not that the first one's great.
First one's all fact-based still. It's just
it's a little opinionated.
I picked and chose a couple of stats here and there.
I like it though, because nobody takes that argument. Nobody ever takes the LeBron argument. They'll always go Jordan. You can read a million articles like that. I want to read the one that's different.
Yeah. The original one was born out of a sports group on Facebook that I joined on a whim. My buddy invited me to, and it's just it shouldn't even be called the Sports Lounge. It's called Michael Jordan versus LeBron arguments every single day.
That's all it is.
Because that's all that it is. But it's always come from that. The hate that LeBron gets for losing to, his finals losses.
Some of the best teams ever.
Yeah. Dynasty Spurs, one of the greatest coaches of all time, the greatest power forward, and one of the greatest, run fundamental teams.
Yeah.
Then you've got the Warriors, who at the very least had 3 Hall of Famers with now a Hall of Fame coach running the greatest 3-point shooting team that changed the league forever. And then, they added Kevin Durant to that team.
This guy.
And
haterade over here.
Well, then you've got Jordan on the other hand. He's facing teams that also have multiple Hall of Famers, and the Celtics, the Pistons, and the Lakers. Three or more is what I'm specifically saying. His record against them is terrible. Yeah. He never beat Bird. 0-2, swept both times. Never beat the Pistons until the final year, whenever he finally got over the hump. 91. But he is 1-3 against them, I believe. Might be 1-4.
Yeah, he's 1-3. Yeah.
Yeah, so 1-3 against them.
Yeah. And
then he beat the Lakers in the finals, and they had 3 Hall of Famers. They had Magic Johnson, they had James Worthy, and then they had some dude named like Vlade Divac.
Vlade Divac.
Yeah, that's how it is.
You want to smell like me?
And and Worthy was hurt for the last 2 games. So was Byron Scott, who's not a Hall of Famer, but a solid contributor to that team. And everybody seems to forget that. So the same arguments that are made for him count more for LeBron because it happened in the finals, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think that that's crap because had Jordan been drafted into the West and had to face those teams in the finals, he hadn't got a perfect record anymore either.
Well, and my favorite part about your article, when you're stating LeBron went up against the Warriors, he beat the best record team that the Warriors ever had, and up to that point, the best record in NBA history.
Yes,
up
and he
until that point.
would have gotten a
73-9.
ring. He took him to 6
Wild.
games in 2015, missing Kyrie Irving, the leading scorer, number 2 man, Kevin Love, leading rebounder, number 3 man.
Yeah.
He was out there with Matthew Dellavedova as his number 2 player and
Dude,
Iman
Delly was
Shumpert
dope.
as their 3rd.
He was
and,
dependable.
and he took him to 6 games. He should have been the MVP that finals. And then once you get to, he was the only one to beat them whenever they added Durant in 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Only team. They swept the West all the way through. LeBron James, the only one to get a victory. And I know that he lost 4-1, but one team got a win over them in the postseason that year. And it was LeBron James.
That's a stacked team, though, man. That's an all-time team when you have Kevin Durant added to Steph Curry and Klay Thompson and Draymond Green.
Yeah, you've got the 3 probably best shooters in the league on that team. Kevin Durant will probably go down as the best scorer of all time when it's all said and done if he keeps the pace that he's on. Steph Curry's already, he's destroying scoring records.
Wow. Not a big Kevin Durant fan.
I'm not either. He's a snake, but that's a whole other argument.
Yeah.
I think injury is also the interesting thing, how his second half, LeBron's always healthy, even at his age of 35,
Dude,
6.
he keeps himself in amazing shape.
Yes, that's what helps him get up there.
Yeah, that dude's a monster. Like, even his training regimen off season, like, his beard is crazy right now, though.
Yeah.
The pictures of him, I'm like, you've got a barber that'll hook you up, man. What's going on there?
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He loves the
attention.
rugged,
Yeah.
COVID look.
The dude is in shape, though. I mean, it's wild to see. So that argument, I mean,
He could be a Tom Brady and pull 42 years in the NBA
Easily.
if he
He's healthy.
consistently improves his game the way that he has. Because you got to think, I mean, there are games where he's pulling up shots. This isn't consistent. He's not Steph Curry by any means, but I mean, he's pulling up 40-foot shots and making them sometimes just to be like, I can do this too.
Yeah.
His shooting percentage from the 3-point line has considerably improved over the years. He couldn't shoot the 3 ball to save his life starting off early in his career. When he was first with the Cavs, no way, man.
Well, yeah, I remember that was a big question in the media, was that could he take the last shot in the games and all that?
Yes.
They were really polarizing him for that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a debate that could go on forever. I mean, as far as who's the greatest, who between the two of them, or even other players, past or present. I mean, there's a lot of talent when it comes to the NBA, regardless. So, but the show in itself, I'm loving. Looking forward to tomorrow's 5 and 6.
What'd you think about Rodman?
Dude, I was always a Rodman fan.
Yeah.
I loved Rodman. I mean, okay, so growing up, Jordan was my guy. Like, that's who I watched. That my whole bedroom was Bulls. I had a Bulls beanbag chair. I had Chicago Bulls, like what's that called at the top of your wall when it's not full wall
trim,
like a runner.
Yeah.
I had like the Chicago Bulls runner. I've got a frame Jordan, actually, which I need to bring in here. I've got a frame Jordan jersey. It's in my garage. That was like a gift.
Signed?
No, I wish.
Dude.
No, but like my stepdad at the time and my mom had given it to me as a gift, and he like made a frame for it and they hung it in there.
Nice.
So I have that, which I should bring in here and hang up. But like, I was all in Jordan. I mean, that was my dude. So I like the Bulls. So I mean, I was a big Pippen fan, but I loved Rodman.
Yeah.
I loved his antics. I loved the crazy hair every week. Like,
Yeah.
I just liked the way he carried himself, his personality. And I've said this about Eminem before, is I like the way that they portray themselves. It's that, like, I don't give a fuck attitude.
Yeah.
Like, this is who I am. Take it or leave it. Like, I'm going to do me and ride with me or don't. I don't care. Like, and I've always loved that. I loved that about Rodman. I loved it in the show. Obviously he's got stuff going on that they kind of portray in that show and stuff, but it was interesting that they made a whole episode about him. I mean, 3 was pretty much just about Rodman.
Yeah.
I was dying at the Carmen Electra saga. And I forgot that they dated for a while.
Yeah.
God, she was something else.
Dude,
man.
I told Steph, I'm like, I'm like, Carmen Electra looks good. Like she still
Right?
looks good.
Yeah.
She's like 50.
Yeah, dude. She looks real good for her age.
I totally forgot about her entirely. And then she popped up
Yeah.
on the screen. I'm like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Blast.
I used to
from
have
the
a
past.
big frame poster of her too. I
bet you did.
Oh, dude, I loved her. She
got
was like you got to think when she was big. I was in like 7th and 8th grade. Like,
Right.
You were hanging posters of girls on your wall and stuff, and like that was when you could go to like Kmart and like Walmart, and they'd have like they don't sell posters like that now at the store. You can't find that. You'd go to the store back then, FYE or any of those kind of stores, and you'd be able to find like Carmen Electra
Spencer's.
and just wild Sports Illustrated posters and stuff. So 3 was cool. I mean, I really liked how they talked about Rodman. All that behind the scenes stuff you don't when you're just watching the NBA, especially back then, there wasn't social media and stuff. You didn't know about any of that stuff going on.
Right.
So it's really cool to watch. What were your guys' thoughts on 3 and 4, Rodman saga, just those last 2 episodes?
The Rodman thing was really cool for me. Just because I was really young when that all went down. So I went and I remember seeing Jordan play when I was really little, but I didn't fully grasp what it meant to be able to go to a game and watch Jordan play.
Yep.
Because they had like intros and stuff that were all exciting at the Cavs game for the Bulls.
Yep.
And I remember that like distinctly, like I caught a ball while we were there and like all this other stuff, but I didn't care that I was seeing Jordan. I was probably like 5.
Too young to understand it.
Right.
Yeah.
But to watch it now, going back, like I've watched some of the games since then. You know, I've gone back on YouTube, watched the entire games and things like that. And Rodman was just different, you know,
man.
like I thought it was really interesting. I didn't realize like they hinted, basically they didn't say it, but he was suicidal.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And, you know, he was dealing with like a lot of stuff. And I don't know, I guess it just gave me more insight because I didn't know a lot about him. And you see stuff like him hanging out with like Kim Jong-un and stuff. And I'm just like, this dude's a psycho. And like,
yeah, dude, he's wild.
but like he was a heck of a basketball player. Dude led the league in rebounds like 6 times.
Dude, almost for a decade.
Yeah,
it was like 8 times.
He's insane.
Yeah.
And I liked it a lot. I thought it was great.
Yeah. It was interesting to see all that dark behind the scenes stuff because it kind of played to his image. I mean, people like a lot of times, I don't want to like stereotype him, but when you're acting out like that, a lot of times it's because it's a cover up or there's something else going on. Like,
right.
In his constant, like the changing of his attire week to week or his hair and stuff, like he was kind of acting out a little bit. It obviously was part of who he was, but you could tell he was going through something. Like there was more to the story on the outside, than just what you saw on the outside. So yeah, he definitely had some darkness going on.
Yeah.
They kind of hinted at that in that episode and he wasn't wanting to talk about it and stuff, but I was cracking up when he's like taking off on his motorcycle and just goes to Vegas.
For 48 hours.
They gotta come get him. I did think it was really cool. The relationship he had with Phil Jackson, and how they like Phil Jackson kind of took him under his wing and like cared for him and like understood him and like understood what he needed and to not make him feel like that outcast. They knew his talent, and it's to work with someone like that, everyone's different.
Yeah,
got to handle everybody's situation different. So that gave me a lot of respect for him more than Phil Jackson's one of the greatest coaches ever. I respect him regardless, but on a personal level, I thought that was really cool to see how he took someone in like that, so that was really neat. Were you raising? We don't have to raise hands.
I know. I was just trying to. I know. I'm trying to get used to it. But
what's going on?
One thing that I thought that they should have put in this documentary, though, that they didn't.
Yeah.
They talked briefly about how he was acting out in San Antonio before he went to the Bulls.
Yeah.
What they don't talk about was that when that trade happened, when they sent him over to the Bulls, they were so done with him.
Oh yeah.
There was like no compensation.
Yeah.
It was like, send me some bum.
Yeah. Right.
And
they just want to get rid of him. Yep.
So the Bulls got him for basically free.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that helped contribute to that dynasty, because people knew he was a Hall of Fame player at that point. He had a couple of rings. He led the league in rebounds, like you said, years and years and years. And now you're adding him to Jordan and Pippen, arguably the greatest defender and the greatest scorer in the league, who've already won 3 rings.
Right.
People knew what was going down.
Absolutely.
It was and the league blocked Chris Paul from joining Kobe Bryant.
Yeah, yeah. Well, there's been some questionable decisions for sure.
Right.
Yeah, I think part of my enjoyment of this series is a lot of what you guys have already said, but in addition to that, it's that, you know, it's not just a vehicle for Jordan's greatness. It's also a vehicle for all these other players. So like you
Right.
talked about Rodman getting his own episode. And I think that's cool because it shows you that there were a lot of pivotal pieces to this vehicle that kept moving and moving for 6 out of 8 years.
Yep.
You know, one interesting dynamic with the whole Rodman thing, and they kind of hinted on it in this episode, but not to the full potential, was that, you know, he played for the Pistons and he was a hard ass in Detroit.
Yeah, dude.
Like he put the Bulls through hell
Yep.
when they
Yeah.
played against each other in those Eastern playoffs. So to me, I was always wondering, like, is there bad blood between them? You know,
Yep.
like when we're bringing this guy into our team now,
Yep.
we know winning is the most important thing, but this guy's an asshole. Jordan even said he didn't like him.
Yeah.
So he hated him when he
Yeah.
was in Detroit.
Yeah.
So that's interesting to see that dynamic. And yeah, you guys were talking about the Vegas trip. I thought that was pretty cool and hilarious. Yeah, it's one of those guys like Phil Jackson. He just knew you have to let this guy unwind for a little bit. You know, he was basically their number 2 for that 98 season for half of it anyway,
He was
when
man.
Scottie Pippen was out. So, you know, Jordan depended on him a lot. And I think it showed that he could do a lot more than just rebound. He could keep his composure.
Well,
And I think that plays a lot what you were saying though, with being that number 2.
Mhm.
And as you saw in the show, that kind of played into that, him going into that dark place. Because then when Pippen came back and he felt like he was less needed or
Yeah, third wheel.
yeah, he was third wheeling at that point. He started to kind of get into that dark zone and like kind of going off the handle a little bit. And I get that, you know, when you want to feel like, when you feel like wanted, because again, he's kind of an outcast, you know, and he felt needed, and Jordan wanted him to be there, and he relied on him. And a lot of people in that position, like they thrive on that stuff, you know, it makes them feel good. So then you give them that, and then you start to take it away.
yeah.
It's going to send a lot of people down a dark place, you know, and I feel for him. It was sad to watch. It's hard to watch anybody go through that,
Right.
you know, any kind of mental illness or anything where they feel unwanted or unworthy, which he kind of obviously portrayed that a little bit. It's really hard to see. So it's if you watch that and you see the way that Phil handled him and everything, you can take a lot away from that outside of sports with just your fellow people, you know, and treating each other kindly and taking people under your wing and just treating people with respect and stuff. So there's a lot of good messages you could take away from that show, just from that aspect.
And there's one, that's my one knock on this documentary, is because Jordan has complete control on what they were able to release and everything. Not everything that we're seeing is 100% unbiased and factual.
See, I didn't know that.
He has complete control over what they released. So there is a pretty lengthy sheet of information that shows like Rodman, he was respected as a player.
Yeah.
But him and Pippen, MJ and
yeah.
Pippen did not accept him. I mean, he wasn't.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were not like buddy. He was very much an outcast with the team.
Mhm.
Like, I think that's a major thing that contributed to it, and they didn't touch on that.
Yeah.
But
Phil took him in, but you can kind
Phil
of
took him in.
show that they know they relied on him as a player,
right, but they were
But they
uncomfortable
were
with
like
him.
friends. Yeah, because like Chris mentioned earlier too, though.
He
And I
beat up
thought
on him
about
for
it,
years.
and I thought about that as well, because like that's awkward. You know, when you play, even outside of Rodman, like there's a lot of teams where you like that's your rival and you end up playing together.
Yep.
You know, but to have someone that physical,
Yeah.
and like I mean that dude was roughing people up.
It'd be like
man.
Draymond joining the Cavs with LeBron and Kyrie.
Nope.
Ooh,
Bro, no. When I played football back in school. So I originally went to Revere,
Mhm.
and then I transferred to Copley, which
Okay.
are rivals. That's Brown Steelers, like rivals. So I played for Revere, and then when I went to Copley and I continued playing. So then I'm playing against all the people that I used to be on a team with,
insight.
and it was awkward, man. Like
Yeah.
it was like, man, like these were my boys. Like we played football together, but I gotta like rough you. Like I'm trying to win,
Yeah.
you know. And it was real rough, like
Yeah.
to be lined up face to face with people that you know you call friends, but you get on that field and you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
So like Rodman coming over to them, I mean, they knew what they needed as far as an asset to the team.
Yeah.
And like, look, we can take that energy that he used against us. Now we're going to have that as our weapon. But yeah, I'm sure the off court dynamic, especially when they were showing some of those behind the scenes, like where they would show, hey, Mike, here's a video clip of this.
Yeah.
You know, like because they had pre-recorded everything and then they like played it back to each
Right.
other. That was kind of weird.
The Isaiah thing was big for me. Like as far as he goes, like, yeah, anything he says, it's full of shit because like he's had time to think about it and all that.
That was fucked up though.
Well, that's kept him off the Olympics.
Isaiah's come out and said though, since that came out, and he was like, you know, after watching the documentary, I'm surprised that he called me an asshole because he has nothing to say to me to my face. That's exactly basically what he said. He's like, anytime I see him, it's all praise. He goes, so I don't know why he's calling me an asshole now.
Yeah, well, you're a grown ass man though. What are you gonna do? Like fight each other?
But that's how the league was then. Like today,
that's
LeBron and Curry are always dapping each other up and everything. And like there are people that they can't stand, but you keep your appearances because that's how it is today.
Yeah.
You know, like LeBron and Draymond, they hate each other. That's pretty clear.
Yeah.
But like I think LeBron and Curry probably don't have great feelings towards each other.
But they're respectful.
But they respectful all the time. Back then, that was not how it was.
Well, even Jordan said that though in the show though, like and they had video footage of it. Like after they got their asses handed to them, they were still respectful.
Yeah.
They didn't walk.
Oh no, I thought you were talking about Detroit.
No, yeah. Like even after they got their ass handed, Jordan still went over, gave them the like little hug, like congratulations, great game kind of thing. Like they still showed that respect. Now I get the like mentality of, like you've said, like we've talked about in way back episode season 1, like with rivalries, and there's no real rivalries now and stuff. Yeah. Like I get that, but you can still like after the game. Like, cool, man. Like
that's sportsmanship.
That exactly. Just that professionalism. You can hate them. You could want to fucking stomp them into the ground. But at the end of the day, that, you know, shake hands or congratulations. Like in soccer,
that was the number one
walk
thing.
by and you do the hand slap with everybody and stuff. Like we'd get our asses handed to us, and I'd be like, some dude might have kicked me in the head. And I played soccer all growing up. But at the end of the day, it's just respect.
You have to. I mean, my coach used to preach, if you don't shake hands after that, your ass ain't playing next time.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter who it is.
Just sportsmanship. You know, that's all it comes down to in any league, any game.
Well, that's how I try to be like our golf league. We have that, you know, fun golf league and all that. But
I ain't shaking your hand when I take the belt.
No, and that's fine. But like going into the match, my goal has always been to rattle people so bad that they're like, I have to kick this guy's ass. It has to happen. Yeah. So I try to make them do that so they appreciate that title more. Yeah. And at the end of the game, they think I'm going to come up and, you know, spit in their face or something. I always go out and I always shake their hand. Yeah. That's how it is. I say, I'll get it next time. It's all right.
I feel that.
But to say like what Jesse was talking about as far as Jordan, you know, how he kind of has creative control on this whole documentary and all that. I think the interesting thing though is there's some moments that slip through that don't paint him in the best of lights. The one example that I point to, it's an episode that's coming up here actually tomorrow night. He talks about Clyde Drexler in a certain matchup for the 92 finals. And what he says about Clyde, I think is a big slap in the face for someone who was one of the sweetest athletes in Clyde Drexler of all time. I mean, how can you have a bad bone for Clyde Drexler? But yeah, it doesn't paint him in the best of lights sometimes. But I think the documentary's point is that's what fame is. It shapes people, you know.
So 5-6, without giving away too much spoilers. Yeah. Where do we go direct? Because it's how many total? 10?
10. Yeah.
So we still got a lot to go.
6 to go.
I mean, I feel like we've watched a lot. I'm like 6 more seems like a lot because we ended 4, and that timeline was so all over the place. I don't even remember how we ended 4. Remember?
Well, 4 was Phil Jackson's episode. Basically, it was to basically his whole roots to Puerto Rico when he started his coaching career. Right. How he got brought onto the Bulls by Jerry Krause and all that. How that relationship soured.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then going into 5-6, do we get into more like individualized episodes, or are we going to get into more overall aspect?
So I won't spoil anything, but I'll just kind of give a brief synopsis.
You can really spoil it. It's a documentary. It's not like it's like a plot twist or anything, but I mean, to not give too much away, just people are going to watch it tomorrow.
The things to look forward to in episode 5, first of all, the opening minutes are breathtaking.
Yeah.
I think as far as the whole series goes, that cross-generational moment happens in the opening minutes where you go, oh man, like I forgot about that. And it will give you goosebumps right down to your core. Yeah. So that happens. But episode 5 is mostly about the business side of Jordan and the empire that he created with Nike.
I was going to ask if they get into the whole shoes.
You will love this episode because you with shoes and those kind of brands, you will love this. This might be one of your favorites.
Tinker Hatfield, is he in it? Do they talk about Tinker Hatfield? That's like was Jordan's wingman.
They do a little bit. Yeah. I think they talk about him for a few minutes, about the 20-minute mark.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's episode 5. Episode 6 is also going to show tomorrow. this is basically, they kind of show the claustrophobic nature of being a superstar. So the Bulls basically became rock stars in the 92-93 season. That was when they faced the Blazers.
Yeah.
Arguably thought by some to be the best Bulls team, myself included, even more than that 72-10 team.
Yeah.
I thought the 92 Bulls were unstoppable.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, it's basically shows how, you know, what led to basically Jordan's first retirement. A lot went into this episode. So he's, you know, there's one part where I'm just going to say this. He's sitting on the couch, he's smoking a cigar, and that song, What It's Like to Be Like Mike, plays from that Nike advertisement.
Yeah.
And he goes, what's it like to be
like Mike?
It fucking sucks.
Yeah.
And he smokes the cigar and he goes, I'd give it up in a second. And it just starts the episode like that.
Damn.
It's crazy.
That's dark.
So yeah.
Do they talk Space Jam?
It's getting to that. The Space Jam one, I think, is episode 7 though.
Okay.
Yeah, because Suns are episode 7. So
Okay.
yeah.
What about his gambling?
Yeah.
Dad?
Go
Talk about his dad?
Episode 7 is all that, man. That summer of
Dad got
93.
shot, right? Or,
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
And there's one thing that they go on with the media. They say something about Jordan right after his dad died.
yeah.
That writer should have been fired.
Yeah.
Like there should have been no questions asked. Get his ass out.
I remember that. I remember that still when that happened. And that was dark, man. Like, that's awful. Yeah, Jordan's got a lot of history. I mean, just in general. Speaking of Space Jam, do you see Bron's
A
Well,
New
not-
Legacy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Pretty
title's
exciting.
intentional.
Yeah, well, obviously. I'm excited to see where they go with it. I'm curious to see how they animate that movie. If they keep it in that same style that the original. Like,
That's a
I'm
good point.
hoping
He was doing
they
that
don't change
all,
it up to like a new.
Yeah, he was shooting that during last season.
Yeah.
All at the same time. He was, you know, practicing, and then he'd go and practice in the studio and like shoot around and do all of his workouts while he was recording for the movie. So
Interesting.
I do wonder how they're going to do that though, because I don't think it'll be the same story. I think it'll be different somehow. I don't think it'll be your traditional alien steal talent and they're all whatever.
Yeah, it's like what do you do with it at this point?
It's got to
Because
be different in
they-
some form or
They
fashion.
beat them and they went home, right? In Space Jam,
Yeah.
I've watched it
Yeah.
so long.
Is it even a sequel? Is the question,
Or-
or is it just a remake, like as a whole? Because if it's a remake,
see,
you
I hope-
strip all the rules of the former, and that doesn't exist.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want that though. I
Yeah.
kind of want that continuation, and to some extent, at
Mhm.
least.
I think what
I don't
would
want it to be like
cool-
just a whole new movie with the same title. I hate when people do that.
I'm not fond of it either.
I hate when you take the same name of a movie or
Yeah.
anything and then just make it something completely like. Did you guys ever see the new Point Break? I know we're going off track.
Oh
No.
God.
Why was it even called Point Break? Make that a whole new movie.
Yeah, it was like
You
they
just
could have called that X Games.
Grabbing onto the name just for
Yeah.
the name. I
Yeah.
hate that.
They've done, yeah. I think that Space Jam would be dope if maybe the aliens come back and they're like, we need somebody to help us in this
On
like
their island.
universal, like
That would be
universe
dope.
basketball tournament.
Bro.
And then they take some talent from NBA players and LeBron
Bring them
joins
there.
them
That
and
would
makes
be
like a
dope.
Looney Tunes alien team to face off in like a universe,
basketball,
kind of like
not
Thor
on Earth.
Ragnarok type of thing,
That
only
would be
basketball.
Dope.
Wow, get like that big stadium feel with the crowd around,
Yes.
Oh,
you'd, have,
yeah.
you'd have people from all over the galaxy in the
and
crowd.
yeah, that would be interesting.
Be
That would
sweet.
be dope. I like that storyline because they can't bring it back to Earth again.
No,
So if it was like an in outer space, him like trying to save the galaxy type thing,
Yeah.
that would be dope.
Yeah, why not take it to their doorstep? You know, like we've already had.
Right.
It's kind of like the Independence Day thing. Like they did another movie here on Earth. You know,
Right.
like do one there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that would be dope. I like that.
and then people can't say that, you know, Jordan saved the planet, but LeBron saved
Saved
the
the world.
galaxy.
Oh, there it is. That damn last line in that
Yes.
article.
Here we freaking go. This guy.
My fingers crossed, baby.
That I like that. I like the concept of that though. That does sound fun. So, yeah. So, anyways, God, we talked a lot about The Last Dance. We just are very passionate about both those players and that story. And great show, great documentary. If you guys haven't watched it yet, check it out. Even if you're not super into basketball, it's just cool. I always love that behind the scenes stuff. I thought it was interesting that they brought like a camera crew and stuff to Vegas, like with Rodman. Like it was interesting just because the show was mainly obviously about LeBron and like he was off on his vacation and stuff. And it was
Yeah.
still weird. They had that behind the scenes, like videoing him gambling and stuff. Like,
But
I
that
don't know.
was how it all got set up. Was they wanted it to be? They felt
a
like
full
it was
coverage.
Yeah, they thought it was going to fall apart. It did, and
Yeah.
they said, "Hey, we want to record everything that we can. Give us
Yeah.
the okay, and if you don't, then it'll just sit there." And
Yeah, so I didn't realize. I know he had the all like say in it releasing,
Mhm.
but I didn't realize he played a part in like the editing, like as far as like what they could release. So I'd be curious to see if they ever release.
Yeah, I don't think that
like-
he actually sat down and edited stuff with them, but
No,
I'm sure that
give
they
him
showed it, and he
approval.
said, "Hey, yeah, we're not
Mix
showing that."
or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think they make his image look bad though. I mean, again, there could be stuff hidden that makes him look bad, but I think they're already being pretty blunt about how he was. Like he was kind of a dick, but
Yeah.
he was passionate about what he did and he wanted to win. And again, we talked about it last week. LeBron was the same way. Like LeBron is the same way. Like people say he's a dick to play with sometimes because he knows what he wants and he's going to win at all costs. And
yeah.
so when you're great and you're that leader, sometimes it's tough, man. Sometimes you're the bad guy. But
And that's one thing that I've always said about LeBron is early on in his career, he was a super dick. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
everything that he did was for show, all
Yeah.
those bikes and everything like that. You know, we live in Akron. I'm sure we've all seen him in person a couple of times at
Yep.
least. He used
I
to come
played
to
against
my-
him.
Did you?
I did.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you that story sometime.
Okay.
I had to kick LeBron out of KB Toys once.
I tried to kick him out of the movie theater, but my general manager wouldn't let me.
I was a manager and I kicked him out because it was the year he got signed, and I worked at the KB at Summit Mall,
Mhm.
and he came in with like his posse,
Yeah.
and some girl that worked there with me had gone up to like help him or whatever, and she didn't realize who he was. Like,
Right.
he just got signed, like no big deal. And he said something along the lines of, "Don't quote me because I'm not slandering on LeBron. I love LeBron," but at the time, he was an 18-year-old punk
Yeah.
kid, and he'd said something like, "Oh, this bitch don't know who I am" or something like that. And I was
Right.
like, "You gone, bro? Like,
Yeah.
don't come in here just like I don't care who you are."
And that's who he was,
Get
though.
outta here.
He matured a lot in Miami. As much as I hated that move, I hated him in Miami. He
Yeah.
was he was
grew up.
public enemy number one.
Wade's guidance.
But he grew up under Wade because when he was in Cleveland, he used to come into the movie theater all the time, like complaining about
That's
prices.
what you said.
He would not tip people. He's notorious, for that.
Tattoo artists would complain that he would not tip them
Tattoo
at
artists.
all.
He would bring groups of 20 people to restaurants, and they might
Not
leave like
tip.
a $20, $50 tip on like
Dude.
a $1,000.
Come
he's-
on.
Now I don't know if that's still the case since he's come back.
I hope not.
Because I think he was more low key, tried to kind of keep to himself. But like one thing, and this is his business, so this is my own personal thing. I'm not going to knock him like I will for that other stuff because that stuff was petty and immature. But for me, if you're an athlete, if I was gifted with the talents that LeBron is gifted with, I'm signing autographs for kids. I'm
Yeah.
making sure that I'm there for them outside of events and stuff because he clearly cares about kids. He sends kids to college and does all that other stuff. But like when I've seen him out and about, Cedar Point, movie theater multiple times, the one by his house, you know, just around, he does not acknowledge any people.
Yeah.
Kids, adults, anything. And adults, I understand. Like I wouldn't sign, you know, grown man's stuff either.
But kids.
Right.
But if a kid comes to me and I have that, you're getting a signature, dude.
Here's my thing, and because I agree to an extent, and this, but one thing I've always said is I would never want to be famous. I don't want to be a movie star. I don't want to be a musician.
I
I want to
wouldn't
be an
either.
athlete because now, granted, I know that comes with the territory, and he's made that decision to be a superstar, but they want to live their life.
Absolutely.
Like they want to be able to just go out. So like if he's out at Cedar Point or he's out at a restaurant or he's out at the movies, you got to think about it in the aspect of if that dude says hi to one, now he's gonna say hi to every single person.
Yep.
So you're trying to eat dinner and you give one kid a high five or something, and people find out. Now you
Right.
got a line of 50 people that want a freaking high five or a signature, and you just want to eat dinner with your family.
Right.
So it's hard. You got to pick and choose. And I know it sucks because you want to give that kid an autograph or a high five. I'm sure he doesn't want to intentionally be a dick, but where do you find that balance to not be a dick, but also be able to live your life, man? I can't imagine just wanting to go to see a movie and like he's got to call ahead.
Yeah.
Like, the dude's got to give heads up if he's going to the mall or if he's going to go shopping or he's going to go out. Like he's got to tell them. They got to be able to plan for it. They got to make sure they got security in place. Like it's a big deal.
Yeah.
And I don't envy that whatsoever. I mean, I respect the guy. He does do a lot. He was a dick at first. And that's one thing you guys should know by now about the show. We love LeBron, but we will always give both sides to a story, you know, like we'll knock him if there's stuff that he did that was shitty. As with anything, you know, we're always truthful and factual. So, you know, even though we might love him and where he is now, it wasn't always that way, but he
Right.
does do a lot of good for Akron. As you guys know, we're from Akron, Ohio, and he does do a lot of giving back, but again, that balance is hard.
Yeah.
You know, trying to figure out what you're going to do and not do. And I don't know, man. But anyways, so yeah, we've had some run-ins with Bronny and kicking him out of places or
Dude.
attempting to kick him out of places. And
So my favorite moment, and co-host Nick Mancuso, who has not been with us because of COVID, can attest to this. He's got a funny story about it. But right after he signed and went to Miami, I was heartbroken. Cried during the decision. I remember where I was when it happened. I was at the Chapel Hill Applebee's, and I left right then and there crying. Hated him from that point forward.
Yep.
Couldn't care if he could have got hit by a car. I wouldn't have cared.
Everyone hated him.
I've
bro.
never hated a person more than I hated Miami LeBron.
Yep.
The
way he did that was awful.
Right. And so he comes back. He's at Cedar Point. Happens to be the day that our youth group is at Cedar Point.
Uh-huh.
And I find out. This was like early on Twitter days or something. I don't remember how I found out. He's shooting and winning people basketballs at Cedar Point.
Really?
Huge crowd of people surrounding him, right? All cheering him on. Oh, Bron, he's winning people basketballs. Oh, yeah, you're great, blah, blah, blah. I go walking up. Nick's with me. Everybody's with me. They're like, oh, Jesse's about to be ignorant because I've been waiting for my chance.
Jeez.
I run over and I go, you suck. And the whole place just goes silent. And like the crowd parts like the Red Sea. I walk straight to the front, and this dude immediately looks at me in the crowd and he goes, you're great, LeBron. Kobe's got nothing on you.
Wow.
And I go, Kobe's got 4 rings. Because at the time he doesn't have his 5th one yet. I'm like, what do you got? And this was terrible. I was like 16. What year did he go? 2010? I was 18.
10. Yeah.
I was 18 or just under 18. And
punk ass Jesse.
Bronny's there with him. And so I'm like, Bronny, how does it feel to know your dad is a traitor? And that's when he looks over at me and I'm like,
bring up the kid.
Maybe he'll beat the crap out of me, you know?
Damn.
Get that money.
So now other people start jumping in. Yeah, you're Robin to his Batman. Yeah, you're nothing but a sidekick. And it just starts getting crazy. So he puts the ball down, starts to walk away. Everybody follows.
I've seen that video. There's a video on YouTube.
So everybody's yelling at him and everything. People are screaming. And I kept it up for probably 15 minutes at this point. We're just following him, and I'm having a blast.
Damn, bro.
This dude rolls up and goes to hit him.
Hit LeBron?
Yes. Runs up through the crowd, gets past the bodyguards, happened so quick, and LeBron literally puts his hand on this man's chest and just whoop,
Iron Man
throws him like a
Dude, you're
throws
gonna
him
get
like
killed.
a movie.
Yeah.
Right. Nobody tackles him or anything. The dude gets up, runs away, and at that point, I was like, "Okay, I'm done."
Yeah,
you know.
see, Jesse, see when you
No.
started?
So
Exactly
he leaves.
why I never would want to be famous.
So he leaves. Years later, Nick is going. He's going taking a class at college. It's like a sports, sports history college class or something like that. And he looks at a textbook and he sends me a picture. That day at Cedar Point, made it into his history about like
what
the debacle at Cedar Point.
The
made it
mentality
into
of
his
being famous?
textbook, and he's like, "Bro, this is you," and I'm like, "Yeah."
Wait, what was the story about?
It was just covering like, his move. And then that was just like a subsection of the story of his move to
Wow.
Miami. It was like the riot of Cedar Point.
There's
I don't
a video
know.
online of that.
I got to
too.
find it because
It
I
is.
wonder,
I'll send it
you
to
might be able to hear me. But yeah, he tweeted out like
Freaking Jesse.
afterwards that day and was like, he was like, "Don't think that I won't remember everybody's faces and stuff like that." I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
He's gonna drop 80 on the
Yeah, Jesse. He's gonna find out Jesse writes for Sports Illustrated. And he's gonna get him fired. Like, I remember you from fucking Cedar Point. you
Dude, he
little
might.
dick. You're done.
I saw him at the movie theater. I was like, "I wonder if he remembers me."
Yeah, dude.
Good thing I cut my hair off.
Oh my god.
But yeah, funny times.
Good old Bronny. I mean, much respect to the guy now.
I love you now. Now I defend you online to a bunch of people. So
Just
you
the way
know.
he went about that, the decision, that's a whole episode in itself we can talk about.
Yeah.
Sports it was just a shitty thing. I remember that night sitting in my living room watching, just waiting. I'm taking my town to South Beach. I was
who saw
like,
Miami coming? I mean, the
oh,
rumors
man.
were all that he was either going to go to like New York or Chicago.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, he's going to go and join Derrick Rose or he's going to come back to us. And then they're like South Beach. I'm like, what the fuck? And then
Hey,
it starts
man.
coming out that they might have worked that deal ahead of time. And that's when I was just like straight vitriol, man.
I can't say I blame him. Like, Ohio sucks. I'm sorry.
They weren't putting
Like,
any talent around him. I mean, he had
Ohio
Anton
was-
Jameson was his best teammate when he was with us,
You got to think though, like if you're wealthy and you
who
can,
averaged 20 points a game.
you can live anywhere you want to live, you ain't picking Cleveland, Ohio, man. Like,
No.
let's be real. You're gonna go to LA, where he is now, or you're gonna go to Miami, going to Chicago. Like, you're gonna live somewhere lavish. Like, there ain't nothing exciting about. There's just nothing great here. It's not terrible. I mean, whatever. It's just it's not where you're gonna pick to choose if you're a celebrity.
It's not a vacation destination.
Yeah. So I don't blame him for going to Florida. I mean, I would have loved to get away from Ohio and live it up in Miami. His house was so dope there.
Yeah. His house here is dope too.
His house here is dope, but like his LA house is sick. His Miami house was super dope. So I can't knock him. And even then, like, I was pissed, but then when I think about it, I'm like, he doesn't owe us anything. He gave us
Right.
the years that he owed us in his contract. He's got the ability to move on now, and he brought us a ring.
Yeah.
You know, he brought us our only championship.
All's forgiven now. Back at the time, I wouldn't have taken as hard if he didn't do it the way he did.
That's
Yeah,
it.
it was just
Even
what he
he
did.
said he's regretted that since.
Yeah.
So like, I just think he had to grow up. People forget that this is a kid that came out of high school, skipped college completely,
Yeah, man. he was
and went
young.
right to the NBA. So
18-year-old kid just got signed to a multi-million-dollar contract to be a professional athlete and go on to be the greatest ever.
And that's the thing too, is
That's a lot to live up to, man.
this kid was given millions of dollars at 18.
90 million
He
in
was
shoe
given-
contract alone.
Right. He was a richer than most people in an instant. Still, never cheated, never been a drugger, like a drug person, a party
Yeah.
person,
No.
never been, cheated on his wife.
I remember the
Documented.
rumors.
There was a rumor.
There's several
There's a rumor,
Sharon
but
Reed.
he was never caught at any of them strip clubs down in Miami or
Yeah.
anything crazy like that. He's always been a
He's
model
always been ahead of the
citizen,
media,
great for
controversial.
kids.
Yeah.
And he's always been an advocate for change in a positive direction, cared about kids' education, cared about improving his community.
Yeah.
So I will give him that no matter what.
Absolutely. He is one person that's never in a negative spotlight ever. Like, it's always good. I mean, like, the decision and crap was negative, but not in anything controversial, like you said. So
Yeah.
he's a good dude, man. He has grown up. He was a kid. I mean, if I freaking made all that money at 18, I probably would have been an asshole too. But
Right.
his stupid freaking Hummer he drove around in. I hated
Oh
that
yeah,
stupid
yeah.
thing.
That questionable Hummer, like where that came from.
Right.
Yeah, I think
Silly.
honestly the biggest judge of his character for me is the fact that he came back. Like,
Yeah.
you know how hard that is, especially to a city that hates you, like that
Yeah.
hates your guts, and once everything Jesse just named.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I give him for that, and he won them the championship that they so long desired. So
Yep. He was dope.
it is what it is.
I remember he came out with that commercial in Miami after he left because he embraced that villain role down
Yeah.
there because he didn't
What
know how to
should I
handle
do?
it.
Yeah.
What should I do?
Mhm.
He should I change my number? should I retire? Should I never come home? And I was sitting at home like, yes, yes, that's exactly what you should do.
Yeah.
That was a great commercial though. Watching the banner fall off of that
Yeah.
building. It's oh my gosh.
And then they made the alternate. Clevelanders made the alternate ones where here he goes, "What should I do?" He's like, "Should I quit?" Like, well, yeah, you already did. Game 5, you saw it.
Yes.
You quit.
Yes.
Yeah, there was vitriol for a while, man.
The Mavaliers, the first year that they went to the finals,
Yeah.
everybody was a Mavs fan. I love that team
Yeah.
to this day.
I just love watching him play, man. Like, I'll be a fan of wherever he goes. He's got 2 more years with the Lakers.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he'll be, I think, 38 when he's done there.
And then he'll come back
And then-
to Cleveland to play with LeBron Jr.
So here's the thing: because I mean that's what everyone's thinking. Obviously,
he will probably go anywhere that his son gets drafted.
I'm gonna say, like, we'd be so fortunate if somehow Cleveland pulled that off,
Yeah.
and we could have. Has it ever happened, father and son at the same time?
I don't
Just in
think so.
I think we've
baseball.
talked about
Baseball,
that before.
yes,
Yeah,
but
'cause
not in.
Griffey.
Mhm.
But he's gonna come back. Obviously, I mean, if he can play with his son, it'd be amazing. If it was Cleveland, God.
Dude,
How insane would that be? I'd just love to see him retire.
there's
from
no way you
Cleveland.
can argue that the NBA draft is not rigged if we get LeBron James
Oh
Jr.
yeah. Oh,
There's
yeah.
no way. I mean, it was rigged just to get LeBron.
Dude, I always like that random drawing in a room in New York.
The two greatest
bullshit.
examples, of
Knicks.
a rigged NBA are Patrick Ewing to the
Mhm.
Knicks and LeBron James to
Oh,
Cleveland.
it's cold. Oh.
Oh man. All right. Well, that's enough of that talk. And God, we talked for that forever.
Our
What-
sports
what is-
segment's so long.
What
we didn't
else?
get to anything.
What else do we have on sports?
Uh,
Draft post talk. We got
the The women's national team, I want to make sure we definitely
Okay,
talk
let's
about.
fly through the last couple sports things so we can move on to
Cool.
some other segments.
So the women's soccer team, U.S. women's soccer team, has been denied their claim to the equal pay. They put a lawsuit out basically saying that they deserve equal pay to the men's team,
which they do.
They get paid astronomically lower,
Should get
despite
paid
the fact
more.
that they've won 2 World Cups.
Yeah, I didn't mean like they get paid equally. I meant like they deserve equal pay. Just in case, just for people listening, like that came out kind of weird. Like I agree, they deserve this.
Yeah. So their argument was they've been fighting this battle for about 5 years now, and their argument was basically, we win more, we bring in more views in the U.S., we bring in more money than the men's team.
Yeah.
The men's team sucks. Let's just be real. We had one good run that was decent, but we haven't sniffed a World Cup. Women won the gold once too, correct? Or was it more than once?
That year when they ripped their shirts off.
Yeah.
What was that? God.
Wait, when was what? What was it?
Yeah, they all
remember that?
Mia
It was
Hamm.
recent. It was like 2 years ago, right? It was
But,
well, they did win it again 2 years ago, but I'm talking like 98
like
or
way
something.
long ago.
Yeah.
But it was thrown out. So they have lost their lawsuit. They are planning to appeal. I mean, I don't see, my thing is women should get equal pay regardless of what you do.
Yep.
But especially if you do it better,
Oh yeah.
they should be making more than the men's soccer team.
Yeah.
And I understand that the men's soccer team has a bigger draw, just like all men's sports do.
We've talked about that controversy with men and women's sports.
I asked that
before.
question.
But I
Yes.
couldn't name you 2 guys on the men's team.
Mhm.
I might be able to recognize a few of them from watching them that one stretch where they were decent, but like
Yeah.
the women's team, people know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like they are recognizable. They're in commercials. They're all over Nike. They're damn good at this sport. I mean, they put U.S. soccer on the map when that was the sport that was the afterthought in this country. Nobody cared about soccer because we sucked at it. We weren't like, nobody had a decent team ever that we could remember. And they're out here dominating year after year after year. And they're getting paid pennies compared to the crappy men's team that can't do anything.
That's why I wonder, how do you even debate that? Like, you just look at a paper that says, so the men are getting paid this much, the women are getting paid this much. How do you even debate that they're even equal?
Yeah.
Because to deny that, you admit that they're equal.
That's what I don't understand is like, how did this get dropped?
Yeah.
So basically the argument that
There's got to
said,
be something showing salaries.
it's not about them making equal. It's about they said they were fairly compensated.
That's
okay,
even
so
worse.
so what does that even mean though? How do you allocate, especially like you said, when they're better known, their statistics are better, they're dominating as far as views and winning. Like how are
I think that
I don't want to be on that side of the person that said, hey, you guys are being compensated what you deserve, and sorry, like I don't want to be that guy because
Seriously.
and that's the thing is
rough.
I think that like overall men's soccer is something that's watched more than the women's soccer when they're not in the World Cup or something like that. But for the biggest events that bring you worldwide notoriety for your country, brings you fame for your country. That's the thing people always preach with the Olympics is, you're playing
respect
for
for your
America,
country.
you're doing this and all that. They show up.
Yeah.
And you have the notability, you've got the, people recognize these women.
Yeah.
They've had, speaking out against Trump and speaking out for women's rights and doing all these things. They're advocating. They have, an important social stance.
Yeah.
That all alone should compensate more than the casual views of a diehard fan base when this country soccer is like 5th.
Yeah.
I mean, it's behind hockey in views.
And that's a very good point, bringing up the administration and all that. Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that.
I mean,
they did a lot, man.
They've been slammed by, political people. We know who, Trump. But like, this is a team that is a dynasty in soccer.
Yep.
And we're not giving them anything. They're not giving them their due. It's bullcrap.
Yeah.
I think that they will win this appeal eventually.
It's gonna come around because they're gonna continue to advocate. So hopefully they can get to a point where they are compensated fairly and for what they deserve. That's a constant battle in all fields when it comes to women versus men. I don't understand how we cannot get to the understanding of the equality. I don't like that's something that the mindset to me, I'll never understand the people that make these decisions. It's the same thing with racial issues and how, different races are paid differently.
Yeah.
Like I'll never understand the people that make these laws or pass these rules and stuff, like how they advocate for their decisions. Like people it's just ignorance, obviously. But in this situation on such a large scale where people are watching and there's statistics to prove and hold against it, how you can still come out and just be like, you're good. Like you're paid.
I think it's even
just so ignorant.
Well, it's even more ignorant in a field where the women are obviously better, like Jesse said. And like the thing is, so I'll go on the ledge and I'll say this, and you can hold me accountable. I don't care. So if you compare the NBA to the WNBA, the NBA players should be making more.
Absolutely.
It's just the way it is.
The thoughts and comments of Jesse Young do not reflect the Made to Motivate podcast in any way.
I finally got one, yes. But no, like the stands are packed every game. The brand appeal is off the roof. You never ever see a commercial for women's basketball. It's just the way it is. I hate to say it.
No, I agree. And again, I'm on the same page as Chris. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but that's like putting professional against like a minor league.
Yes.
Like, yeah, they're professional basketball players, but it'd be like the Rubber Ducks and the Indians. Like they're not on the same scale. They're not filling stadiums. That's different.
Yeah.
Because their statistics and what they're getting for their product is not the same. Whereas with the soccer, the women are generating more.
Yeah. In this instance, the women deserve way more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I agree in that aspect, like you're saying. Like the WNBA, not to knock them or anything, but it's just a different thing.
Look in the stands. It's true.
Right. Yeah. I mean, like they're probably being compensated for the product that they're producing, and then that's how you allocate the funds. They're getting paid on sponsorships that they can get in ticket sales and stuff. You're not selling tickets. We got to be able to compensate you based on what we're receiving as income. So that it's true. I mean, in that aspect,
and that's my thing is it's like people make the argument like, well, they could never beat the men's team. And that's probably true because men are naturally faster, stronger. It's just can't be done.
The thoughts and comments of Jesse Young do not reflect the Made to Motivate podcast in any way.
But when you have somebody that dominates their league, the Serena and the Venuses,
that's a good example.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They've come out and said, there have been people who have said like they don't think that Serena would be able to beat like a Nadal. Maybe not. I don't know enough about tennis to make that argument. But even if she couldn't, she's the most dominant female tennis player of all time.
Yeah.
She deserves to have equal pay to those two guys.
Yep.
Because I know, me personally, I don't know about you guys, I've watched way more Serena matches than I have any Nadal or Federer.
Same.
Yep.
And I hate tennis.
Yeah.
But she's Brittany Griner, she's bringing stadiums full of people.
Absolutely.
And
she's bringing in income. Everybody knows her name. Everybody knows who she is. If Brittany Griner went out there in the WNBA and she started dominating 100 points, people started noticing who she was.
Yep.
She was bringing people to the stands to come and watch her. She should be paid equally.
I agree.
To somebody who is the top league.
What if she wanted to play for the NBA?
I think that would be a poor business decision on her end. But I think that I've always been an advocate that if you're capable of playing, then you should.
Yeah.
Like most of the time, whenever you get, like female football players is the one that typically people go to first.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that play at the college level and stuff are typically kickers.
Yep.
Just going back to the same argument, they're not as fast and strong, going to get probably pummeled by a 230-pound linebacker running a 4.4.
That's the thing, and you have to expect that because now you passed that gate, so now you have to expect that.
But if you get a female kicker that is capable of going out there and she's kicking 55-yarders, 60-yarders like an NFL pro athlete, she should be allowed to take part in the NFL.
Yeah,
I agree.
Now, she also has to take the risk that if that kick does get blocked and a guy comes down and smacks her.
Here's my thing.
But if you can play, you should be able to play.
We've talked about this before, and it's controversial, and I'm not knocking women or anything. But for me, I'm for equal rights. I'm for equal pay. I believe women can do anything men can do.
Same.
But I do think that it's nice to have segregation is the wrong word because it's segregation specific to race. I don't want to sound like
it's not.
ignorant.
No.
Okay.
No, it's not.
So like I think it's nice to have some sort of segregation and like just because there's equal rights and equality and for women and everything doesn't mean that guys shouldn't be able to have guy things and women shouldn't be able to have women things. I think it's nice for men to be able to have their own sport and women have the WNBA, or if they want to start a women in football league, cool. Like they should be able to have that. But I think when you start to cross over, you have that it's in your mind as a man. I'm going to come off like a fucking dick and I apologize, but like, you don't want to hurt them or like, you don't want to like, I'm not going to go as hard against that woman. Like, I don't want to tackle her and hurt her.
You don't want to be the asshole.
Yeah. Cause you don't want to be that guy that's like, you tackle her and injure her. And like, what the fuck, man? Like, why would you hit that woman? Like, you know, and you have that fine line that I don't want to cross. So I think that we need to keep certain things separate. Now, if they want to do like a one-off, like, take Serena and Andre Agassi. Well, that's not physical. Like they want to play together, cool. Because I think there's a line you shouldn't cross. There's no physicality in like tennis,
right?
But I think when you get into any kind of physical contact or anything like a football or basketball, like even baseball, I think would be fine. There's no, for the most part, there's not like you're not going to injure
other
them.
than charging the catcher or something. You're not going to.
So I just think there you have to have that cautious line there, just because of social media and the media in general, and like you're going to be that guy, you know. So
I do think that if you got somebody to that point, though, if you got some, you know, girl out of Alabama that made it on the team somehow, she's a kicker and she's good enough. At this point, she's famous enough that people, I think, would accept the fact that, holy crap, she's the first female in the NFL. You know, people would be all whatever. I think that you would have more. And I'd honestly think this because I think a lot of people are assholes.
Yeah.
But I don't think you would have as much. I can't believe that he hit her as you would. Well, that's what she asked for. She wanted to play with the big boys.
Even if there was,
and it would
like
depend on how she reacted to that situation, whether or not it furthered things. Because if she gets up and goes, I can't believe they hit me like that.
Of course.
Then that's going to screw stuff up.
Then you don't belong
But if she pops right back up and goes, fuck you, mother, you know, it gets in that dude's face, a Ray Lewis level player's face, people are going to go, oh crap, maybe women can play in this league. And that's my thing is going back to the whole natural talent thing of it. You're never going to be probably at a 50-50 league.
Yeah.
But if you can get a couple of women sprinkled in here and there, that would be huge. Football, I don't think it will ever happen. Basketball probably won't ever happen. Baseball, I could see it though. I could see maybe Serena does beat the men. I'd love to see that game.
I think Danica in racing is cool because it's just it doesn't rely on
that. Again, there's no physicality, and I love it. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Here's my thing: even if you got a signed contract, no legal issues, if you slam her to the freaking ground and she dies, that's extreme. Obviously,
right?
You're not hold liable. And you're playing, you're a defensive lineman or whatever. You're a tackle, and she's a wide receiver, and she catches, and you just fucking. Would you lay her out? No hesitation.
Me?
Yes.
Yes, I'm in it to win it.
You would. You wouldn't care
because
you have to.
Because to me, if you get this girl out there and she would obviously probably have to be bigger for a woman. So let's say she's 175 pounds. Right. There are receivers that are that size.
Yeah, for sure.
Travis Benjamin is out there running at 175 pounds. And when he gets laid out, they don't think twice about it.
You wouldn't care, though? Just they would know that female thing would not be an issue?
I would probably, if knowing how men's egos are and being in the NFL, I would probably be salty that I'm the one having to guard her in the first place, going to the running back or to the wide receiver argument. Right. The fact that my coach is telling me to go and guard this woman is embarrassing to me. I'm going to shut her down. And if she does get a catch on me, I'm probably going to be salty. I'm going to want to hit her hard.
Get that.
And you have to think about that. You were just hitting on that parallel to that. So say she jukes and jives you and outruns you. Right. Now, how do you look in turn for not playing that player hard?
Now, Jesse, well, here's the thing. Because when she does juke and jive Jesse and scores that touchdown off of him, he's gonna hate himself, and that's the thing. He's gonna freaking be crying in the locker room, like. And I know some women by a girl, so
I know some women that growing up with, they were athletic as hell, man. And they could school me. I mean, I'm not very good at basketball, but they could school me in basketball. But there were some girls out there playing football with us that were just as agile, shaking and baking people, and we tackled them just the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I played like soccer and stuff, not on an actual team, but like I played intramural and stuff with co-ed and soccer and stuff. And dude, girls I went to school with would kick my ass, man. I got friends that went on to play professionally. I got no qualms with it. Like they were freaking good for them. Like I don't have any issues with that. I just feel like there could be that mentality of just and with the physical part
Yeah.
of it, just that hesitation of wanting to.
I
But I think
remember-
if they're in and they've signed up for it, at that point, that's their decision to play, and they know what they're getting into. And I think that it's free reign at that point.
I played 2 years of soccer. I did it to stay in shape for track. I was not good.
Yeah.
They put me on defense because I could clear the ball and I was fast enough to catch up to people. But
Yeah.
we didn't have enough people. Akron Public runs a co-ed team, and we had a bunch of girls that played with us. I played them just as hard. And if
Yeah.
I had to run you over to get that ball to win,
Yeah.
I was running you over. I
Yeah,
don't care how
that's
big you
fair.
are.
You've
Sorry.
crossed-
I guess I do think about that when I played soccer. Like if I was defending against a girl, I mean, I was stealing or slide tackling or shoving in the wall just the same as I was the guys, because it was indoor, and indoor's physical and it's fast paced. And man, I mean, I remember body slamming and getting body slammed by, and
I might not trash talk them as hard and get in their face like I would somebody else.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna let you get past me either.
yeah,
At the end of the
I think
day,
that's fair.
you're not hitting them across the face. You're doing the same thing you would to any other player. So they've
Right.
crossed that line. That's the end of the argument.
Right.
Like, you've crossed that line. You wanted some, you got some. There you
Yeah,
go.
That's fair. I agree with that. I think that's a fair argument. I don't know if and when we'll ever get to that point. But we'll see. What else we got on? Let's Talk, Locker Room Talk. Couple things you wanted to run through with the draft. Who's going to replace Brady? What else did we? I can't remember what else we had.
Please don't let it be who I think it is.
Hold on, we have breaking news.
Oh,
And Chris, this is for you.
You get the hell out of here.
hold on. Do I have like a cool sound
They
bite?
freaking
Breaking news.
they did it.
Andy Dalton, former quarterback of the Cincinnati Bengals, has signed a 1-year contract with the Dallas Cowboys.
What?
Yes.
What the fuck do we need fucking Andy Dalton for?
That is official. That is officially released. Andy Dalton is now a Cowboy.
Wow.
We all thought he was going to New England.
Wow.
I'm so dead.
I was okay a minute ago when it was New England. I could have gotten over that. It was ridiculous. What the fuck is Jerry Jones fucking doing?
Well, that was what we were going to talk about. Was part of it was going to be who was going to replace Brady.
We were going to talk
Uh,
all about Andy Dalton. For once, the breaking news happens during the episode and not right after. Oh my God, Chris is so salty. Chris, what are your first thoughts as a Dallas Cowboys fan about the Red Rifle?
I just feel like if I could stand at the edge of Cowboys training camp tower, I could get a good shot.
The thoughts and comments of Jesse Young do not reflect the Made to Motivate podcast in any way.
You've got two now.
Idiot. We drafted a quarterback from in the 7th round. I know it's 7th round, but we drafted a quarterback.
So, who replaces the GOAT?
I don't know now.
Who's their second runner? Who's their second string?
I think Brian Hoyer is there.
yeah.
They got the guy that played last year. I can't remember even his name. He was some nobody.
Yeah.
They don't really have a quarterback. They're probably going to roll with Brian. There are people
Yeah.
who are saying that they're worried that the Patriots are going to tank to get Trevor Lawrence, quarterback of Clemson next year, which would be
with Brady,
amazing.
With Brady gone, how strong are they realistically? How far do you think they go this season?
Their defense is still elite.
Yeah, they
Um,
won this year off of the defense.
Offensively, they do not have
Chris is so
I know, it's great. They didn't have a lot of talent last year on offense even.
yeah.
The fact that they even got to the playoffs and everything and did as well as they
It's their
did is kind of a
defense.
surprise.
Yeah.
I don't put it past Belichick to devise a system that could utilize more of a run attack.
Yeah.
I think they win 9 games probably still, just off of the coaching and the
Playoffs?
defense alone. It depends on how the Bills do.
Yeah.
If the Bills dominate the way that I think they will with that division with no Tom Brady, I think that they could miss the playoffs.
I'll bet on the Bills.
I think the Bills will win the division.
Yeah.
If the Patriots get in, it's going to be a wild card, and they're not going to the Super Bowl or anything like that. But defense can do a lot of things. They had a elite defense the last 2 years. I mean, they were holding people. They were scoring more on defense than they were on offense in some of those games.
Top 5.
So
What do you think, Browns? You think record this year?
I don't know,
realistically?
man. I always want to say that they're going to do.
Schedule's released this week.
Yeah.
So
We don't know the schedule yet, but we do know the opponents,
Mhm.
and we've got guys like we play the Raiders at home. We play who else do we got? there's some bums on our schedule, but there's some hard teams on our schedule
Yeah.
too. I want them to win 9 games. If they coach, if the coach knows what he's doing and Baker is really the Baker of his rookie year, not the Baker of last year, they could win 11, maybe 10 or 11.
10 or 11.
It all just depends on what Baker is, though. Is Baker the Baker of last year and it wasn't really Kitchens' fault, or was Baker the Baker of rookie year and Freddie Kitchens ruined him? If that's what it is and Kevin Stefanski is able to coach them well and we run the ball and Baker manages the games and has his big plays here and there and all those offensive weapons come together, you're looking at 10, 11 games.
I'm going out on record and saying that Baker's downfall last year was not on Kitchens.
You think it was him?
I think that first year he had that energy, that cockiness, like, I'm in, this is my first year, I'm going to prove myself. And I think there was too much that went on in the off season. And as a team, I don't think it was solely him, but I don't put the blame on Kitchens. I think OBJ not participating in preseason played a big part of it. I don't think they had enough time to mesh as a team.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't blame Baker, but I don't blame it on Kitchens. I think Baker was at fault of his own. I like Stefanski. I think that there's some hope for him. I want to see them do good. They've got the talent, man.
My thing is, and I get what you're saying with Baker, because when I say that it was on Kitchens, I don't mean that Kitchens' scheme is the reason that Baker didn't do well, because he had some bad throws. I think that Kitchens was an offensive coordinator that everybody loved. They were all buddy, and I mean like buddy.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're the head coach, and you've got to put down your foot on a couple of things.
It's hard.
That's hard to go from I'm your friend to I'm your boss.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Imagine if this podcast went big and you were the head of it and you had to boss us around. That's going to cause problems.
Yeah, I've done it. And
So
I've been in line of work where I was a peer with someone and then became their manager, and it's hard to find that balance. And I get that with Kitchens. I mean, I'm sure that played a part.
And that's not even just like a job. Now you're going into I'm critiquing how you are as a player, not just I'm sure your situation was, hey man, you got to do your job. You know?
Yeah. You're not tearing down like their talent and like what they do. Like,
so now you've got somebody who you have to influence into practicing, into playing well, going over skills, telling them what they did wrong, yelling at them when they're doing something stupid. Right. And you've added a bunch of emotion to that with guys like Odell and all of these other free agents that you brought in, these head case, prima donna type of people. I shouldn't say head case, but
that's
what
Odell. I mean,
Yeah. This guy coming in though, Stefanski, they say he runs a tight ship. They say that, he's offensively gifted, as far as coaching wise, loves to run the ball, loves to run the tight ends. We've got 2 great tight ends now. And Njoku was hurt last year, but he had showed a lot of promise the year before that. Austin Hooper's already a great tight end.
He's a beast.
Njoku was a part of the whole Rudolph thing too, wasn't he? Wasn't he Mason?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't playing. He was hurt.
Okay, I don't know. For some reason, I thought he got out a couple games or something because of that. But he was out because he was injured.
That was Larry Ogunjobi.
That's
our other weird names player.
Okay, got it.
But yeah, we'll see. I think it all stems from Baker, though, honestly, because his first year, the difference was he's thrown to these no-name guys. Rashard Higgins, nobody knew him until Baker. David Njoku, rookie guy. Jarvis Landry, but Jarvis was the only guy that he had, and he spread that ball out.
Yeah.
He was throwing to 5-6 guys a game, hitting the running back, hitting the backup tight end, finding these guys, making these plays.
Right.
And then you go into this year, he wasn't spreading the ball anymore. He's forcing passes to Odell. He's forcing passes to Jarvis. He's trying to make these guys get their touches.
Right.
And that's not his game. Play your game, spread the ball out, screw what they want as far as who gets the ball. Worry about getting first downs, marching down the field, and having a good red zone.
I think it's big on
red zone is a big area of opportunity for them.
Oh yeah. And I think it's big on expectations too. So that first year he comes in, nobody's expecting anything because he has a bunch of stiffs around him and they go, well, if we win 1 or 2 games with this kid, cool. And so be it. But then he could actually throw. They saw that. Now there's expectations in that second year. Now they go, well, now we're going to win 11, 12 games, easily. I think expectations can damn a team big time. But I think this year Browns fans hopefully are a little more grounded. And like you said, 10, 11 games seems fair. I would not go more than that for sure.
Yeah,
But,
I think that we would be a wild card team. I still think the Ravens have the division just because
Yeah.
that offense is insane and people haven't
Lamar
figured it out
Jackson.
yet.
great
Your
draft.
boy Lamar.
Coaching of John Harbaugh, utilizing his talents on Lamar still can't throw, but
Question: who do you think stole the draft? Give me a team.
I don't want to say it because I think the Ravens stole the draft.
Yeah, good. It's a good one.
They did.
They got Patrick Queen, who I think is going to be a long-time linebacker for them, just like a Ray Lewis, Terrell Suggs 10-year type of guy for them. J.K. Dobbins was a
Yeah,
steal.
that late, Jesus.
The fact that they now have a duo of Mark Ingram, who's been revitalized in Baltimore, and J.K., they're going to be running 2 back sets with Lamar. Can you imagine the option plays that they're going to be playing with that?
Pound.
Ravens are Super Bowl this
I
year.
think J.K. is on par with Ezekiel Elliott as far as their college careers went. I don't know if it'll translate to the NFL, but people don't give him enough credit. That dude was dominant at Ohio State. And he's got a couple of miles on his tread already, but you know, he can play. And you've got Mark Ingram to take away. He doesn't have to be a 30-touch guy now. He can go out there 15 touches a game,
stay healthy.
maybe 20, but he will be starting for the Ravens by the end of this year.
Yeah. They're going to have a good year.
Yeah,
They're gonna be
and
tough.
they got that wide receiver whose name is escaping me right now, but he's another guy that they just drafted so well.
Yeah.
I texted my buddy who's a Ravens fan, my buddy Richard, and I was just like, didn't Ozzy retire? Like, I could have swore he retired, and he's like, well, he's still got a role in the office, you know? Like, and it's clear because he's drafting incredibly well. They stole it. There were a lot of really good drafts, but I think that they, with the talent and the depth, like going into the playoffs and everything, how far they went and how late their picks were, they got so much value for what they did.
I should have known. I knew. Now I know why we had a good draft. I understand now. I didn't a week ago. Now I understand why. So now the circumstances as follows, and you can say your buddy the film freak called it on this week. Dak Prescott will get injured during the year, and Andy Dalton will come in and be the starting quarterback for at least 8 weeks.
Oh yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think Kevin Costner might have been who was in charge of the drafting of the Ravens this year.
Sonny Weaver.
No, he was not.
I think he was in charge. I think he reprised his role as a draft king.
So
Interesting draft takes.
I think that Dalton, though, I think he could do something. I do, man. Dalton is not a bad quarterback.
I don't hate Dalton.
Dalton gets a bad rep because their team wasn't very
I was
good.
going to say Cincinnati sucked.
But he hasn't had a terrible career. He's an above average guy.
Yeah.
He's a great backup. He's probably one of the better backups in the league. I think Jameis is better now because he's down with the Saints.
I would have been fine with Jameis Winston. I would have danced circles.
Andy's not going to turn the ball over like Jameis will. Jameis will get you 5,000 yards and 30 touchdowns, but he also had 30 interceptions. Don't forget that.
Yeah.
The Red Rifle doesn't get it done in the playoffs, but I mean, he is a solid guy who, if you don't put too much on him, he can get it done.
Cooper Rush, our second string quarterback, sucks. I would rather have Cooper Rush be the.
I think that Andy Dalton has better true arm talent than Dak Prescott.
Wow.
Dak has
Putting that on
many
the
more
record.
weapons. He's got way more weapons. He's more clutch. He's able to do more, and his escapability leads to some better plays. But as far as true arm talent, Andy Dalton at this point has proven just as much as Dak Prescott
Versus
has.
silencing himself over
Let's
here.
see how fast 6 feet folds.
Right.
No, I throwing. I agree because Dak's not really a throwing quarterback. So yeah, I kind of agree with that.
And if he does come in, I think he ups the value of CeeDee Lamb and those guys that you got who they've come out and said they were not targeting wide receiver, but when CeeDee Lamb falls to you, they were just like, okay, I guess we'll take him.
Philly would take him.
You've got those aren't the only controversial things though. I mean, you've got Jalen Hurts went to the Eagles. They're saying they might use him as running back, as wide receiver. He's an athletic guy. They say they're still married to Carson Wentz at quarterback. I think that they don't trust his health. I honestly think that that's all that it is. And they wanted a backup in case he blows out a leg. But then the big one for me was Jordan Love going to the Packers. Aaron Rodgers has got to be livid.
I didn't know he was 38.
I hate Aaron Rodgers.
I despise Aaron
I don't like
Rodgers.
him either, man.
Growing up, I was a
him.
big Packers fan, second to the Browns still. I was always a Browns fan. But I love Brett Favre.
I was a Favre fan more than
Loved
anything.
watching Brett Favre play. Followed him to Minnesota. Was a big fan of him there. Followed him to the Jets, even though he wasn't very good there. But I've always been a huge Favre fan. He's my favorite player before Brady.
Fair enough.
Rodgers is an asshole. You talk about how LeBron was before he matured. Aaron Rodgers
Still
is
that way.
still
His family
that
hates him.
person.
Yeah, he's awful.
He's a douchebag. They've said there have been reports that come out that say that he is, quote,
The thoughts and
irate.
comments of Jesse Young do not reflect the Made to Motivate
Four
podcast in any way.
He's irate with the pick of Jordan Love.
Yeah.
People think that this might just be Rodgers is getting old.
Oh,
Soon
yeah,
he's going to
it's
have
his
to move
time.
on.
Yep.
They're going to pass the reins over to Love.
Absolutely.
I give him 2 years before he's out somewhere. 2 years he'll be
They
playing
start
for New
phasing-
England.
They're going to start phasing him out end of this year, next year easily.
Yeah.
I think he's on his way.
And
out.
good riddance.
Yeah, I mean, it's his time. His time is over. So there's a lot of good stuff.
There's a lot of good sports news this week.
Yeah. The other big one with the NFL was just they're expected to start on time.
Yes.
Right. So
they're saying that they're expecting to start on time.
so September,
Allegedly,
beginning of September will be first week, or is it end of August?
September
usually?
7th.
September, yeah.
Okay.
September will be the first game. Preseason, I think, starts in August.
Yeah.
Are they going to have a
Fourth?
regular preseason still? Supposedly.
Allegedly, I
Yeah.
don't see how it could possibly happen. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how you're putting 63,000 people into
In 2 months.
Cleveland Stadium.
I
you
don't
know,
see it, man. I don't know how.
Well,
I,
3 months, I guess, but
I can see them
it's
playing.
risky.
I don't see fans.
Stadium's
though.
full.
And without fans in football, that's
Yeah.
a big impact to the
Could
game.
you imagine?
man.
I would love to hear the sound of a stadium of dudes crashing into each other
Yeah.
without the noise of fans
Crunch.
there, just that crunching.
Yeah.
The sound bite of that would be interesting to hear.
Yeah.
But any sports going forward right now without fans is going to be weird. I mean, NBA, baseball, it's just that's just the dynamic. And for them, even like you're playing for the people, like you feed off that energy. It's
And-
going to be odd, but
And
it's
that's my
like, would we
thing.
rather get back to watching it and without fans or delay it? Let's watch some football.
and they're professionals, so like you're still gonna have that competitive edge of I want to beat the
Absolutely.
guy ahead of me or in
course.
front of me. But when you get into those circumstances, though, of it's fourth down, they've got to get the first down to keep the play alive,
Yeah.
and you've got the whole crowd going defense.
Yeah.
That's
They're
what I'm
gonna
saying.
need they're gonna need sound bites that
They're-
like people can play from home.
So-
like
Audio.
people can go on and like start hitting a button to like send off the defense.
I've
or,
thought
like,
of that
chant it.
though. Like they
didn't have like some app.
the Atlanta Falcons
see
were
that.
actually fined a couple years ago because they were playing crowd noise through their PA system.
Yeah.
And that's something that you're not allowed to do. I wonder if they will incorporate something like that, though.
It would be cool
if we don't have fans.
If you had an app for like the NFL created an app that you could download for fan interaction for the game you choose.
Yeah.
Dude,
Oh,
you
that'd be
could-
dope.
And you
I
can
don't
do
know, dude,
like
because like how many people be cursing on that damn thing.
well, no, like maybe like pre-recorded stuff that like you click a
Oh,
button. So like
okay.
defense, and you click it, and everybody that clicks it, like it plays that sound, and
That'd
it's
be cool.
amplified by the amount of people. Like if you're cheering on your QB, so you can do it for both teams, so it's still fair.
Yeah.
But they somehow incorporate that into the game. I think that would be interesting. Because I think that part of that plays into the dynamic of success, whether you think it or not. Like if you're that quarterback and you're the away team and you're in the red zone trying to score,
Yeah.
and you've got a crowd of people booing you or like,
Right.
trying to mess with you, you take that away. I think that changes things
That's
a
what
little
I'm
bit.
thinking,
So I think
too.
it would be really cool if they implemented something as a fan interaction. I don't know how they make it work, but I think that would be a really cool idea.
Something we haven't heard from yet is, I'm a season ticket holder for the Browns. My dad and
What
I
happens
buy the
now?
tickets. What are we going to do if
Yeah.
if the season doesn't start? If we can't go to the games,
Carry it over to next year, maybe.
Yeah.
are you going to carry?
Credit you.
I don't think they're going to give me the money. I can't imagine.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
But
Credit towards next season, probably.
maybe
they maybe do something like you get your season tickets next year plus maybe some free tickets or something to give
Yeah.
away.
I mean, tickets are, I think over $2,000. I think is what ours are. Some of them get even more than that.
yeah.
I
They're
haven't
not
bought
gonna
them
give
the
them
past couple
money.
of years. My dad's bought them because I just haven't been able to. But
Yeah.
they,
You're thinking 16 games because times 2 people.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess that.
Yeah, I mean they go up because I mean I've looked at season tickets before and the prices vary, but
and they consistently
they're not going to
rise.
refund it. But I guarantee you they do like a lot of places. Cedar Point's doing that. Like if you did if you bought your season pass last year, because they had that big sale end of last year, you get a season ticket for $99 plus you got in for the remainder of the season last year. And they've already said this year that they're going to credit that towards next year.
Gotcha.
So I mean, I imagine it's going to be something similar. There's no way they're refunding everybody. All
They
those.
want to
They wanna
avoid
carry
that
you
as
forward.
much as possible. They're trying to get those fans in there, but when it comes time, I just can't see. Those seats are tight, man. I mean, you are sitting shoulder to shoulder
Oh,
with
yeah.
people, especially with like Cleveland Stadium, Oakland,
Yeah.
like those places that have like the Dog Pound, the Black Hole, the Lambeau Leap, which are just bleacher seats where people are just crammed in there. I mean, there's no way.
How much percentage of a stadium do you think is allocated to season pass holders?
That I don't know.
Like you think like 50% of the seats are pre-sold as season pass?
Cleveland's got a hardcore fan base, so I would
Cleveland's
say
is higher. I don't.
I'm thinking, what if they did something like it's only season pass holders and they redistribute your seats for the year? Like, so if like to spread you out,
Put 'em, yeah.
So,
Like
so
they
this is
spread
my
you-
thing is
then they
as
could
much
still allow those people that pre-bought and are a season holder to still
for those
go.
people that are up in like the 300 section.
Yeah.
That would probably be cool for them.
Yeah.
But for people
You're
like
lower
me,
and you paid.
I'm section 117. I'm
Yeah.
10 rows back, right on the corner.
But how much of that section do you think is already allocated to season? Like you think most of it's filled with season pass holders?
We got a lot of season ticket holders that
Yeah.
sit around us. I don't know the actual percentage. I know that in my
It's like-
seat, the guys who sit next to me are season ticket holders.
Yeah.
There's a season ticket holder that's in front to my left and to my right.
Yeah.
There are 5 guys behind me that are season ticket holders, and then you've got Macho Man Randy Savage is
Oh yeah.
a section over. So there's a lot.
But if they could do it within reason, like within your similar area, and then still maybe do some kind of credit towards next year, but at least to get some people.
my
in the
thing is
seats.
like it would probably work for me
Not
because
everyone's
where
gonna
I'm at, I
use it.
like my seat because that's always been our seat.
Yeah.
But if they put me on the 50-yard line, or if they even put me, 3 rows up, I'm not going to complain.
Right.
But if you are a guy that's on the 50-yard line, and even if you have to move, there's going to be somebody that's going to
Of course.
And that's why I don't think they could get away with
I guess
it.
my thing here is like I guess maybe they give you just a choice. Like, hey, if you want to attend the games this year, we have to reallocate your seats, or we have to relay out the way that we have people sitting.
Yeah.
If you don't want to come, cool. You can just decide to roll it over to next year. I think it'd be a way for them because they know the season ticket holders. They know where they're already sat.
Yeah.
They could regenerate a map to lay you out with maybe no one directly behind you and no one to the seat to each side of you or something. I don't know. I don't know
think
what they're going to do.
There's 2 options that I would find acceptable. One is if they carried over my tickets to next year and I don't have to pay.
Yeah.
2, Cleveland, if you're listening, or NFL, Roger Goodell. I know I have a big name now, so you guys are all probably
This is
tuned
Jesse Young
in.
from Sports Illustrated.
You guys you can keep my money, but when this all lifts, I get a tour of the stadium.
Ooh.
All of our main players are there. They sign memorabilia,
This guy.
and I get a jersey. It's worth the $2-3 grand that you got.
Okay,
You're
so
saying you would take that in place of being able to have tickets next year?
Absolutely. I will lose these tickets this year.
Okay.
I don't get to watch any games, but come August or July, when everything's all cleared out, everybody's vaccinated, I get to go up to the stadium with all the other season ticket holders. And I don't even care if it's a line. I don't got to meet them, but I walk through and you've got jerseys or something ready for me to go and get signed by Myles Garrett, Baker Mayfield. They all sit there. They take a little photo with me. Doesn't cost them
This guy.
jack because those jerseys they don't cost anything to get made.
Jesse's always
walk
looking for
out.
something for
I
free.
know.
Dude,
Always.
It's not free. It's $2,000.
That's
So step
true,
1's
I
going to
know,
happen. Step
but-
2 is not going to happen.
Right.
And then we're good to go.
This guy.
You do that around the league for all season ticket holders, and not a single person will complain.
Well, I'm going in Ron's shoes then. I'm going to come with you. Ron can stay at home.
He wouldn't miss it for the world.
Ron's old. He shouldn't be out.
The stadium is dope. I toured the
Ron's high
stadium this
risk.
summer.
You going to wear some Steelers shit when you do?
Hell
God,
no.
no.
I'll show up in brown stuff and freaking get some autographs. Dude,
No, you won't. I'm not taking you in there. You
I'm-
Steelers fan.
I'm
Love 'em.
coming. I'm coming. I'm all Browns. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm
Get on the bus.
Dude, I love some of those players. I'm a big Landry fan.
Yeah.
I like Garrett. OBJ, I like. I just wish he'd get his shit together.
Mhm.
I like all of them. There's
Yeah.
not a Browns player right now that I don't like.
I'm not an OBJ fan. Other than that,
I like that guy, man. I like his energy. I just think he's a diva,
Mhm.
but I don't know.
I faced him in Dallas so much, so it was like,
Yeah.
ugh.
I feel
Yeah.
it.
So
All right, sports. The last hour and a half of our show. Let's get into something different. What do we want to transition to? So we have let's do Hollywood Report.
okay,
Yeah, let's
I
get
can
into,
make it quick.
let's get into Hollywood Report, and we got a couple things we can talk about there.
My God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm. Wait. Everybody, calm
boom. So that specific sound that we're using is the perfect sound for this segment today, because it is a big part of the controversy of today's discussion. So Chris is going to lead us off with a couple updates going on in Hollywood Report. So what do we got, Chris?
So let's start off with the topical topic that you just mentioned there. Let's go with Universal Films going against AMC and Cineworld, otherwise known as Regal Cinemas. So recently in this week in the news, AMC Theaters says it will no longer screen films made by Universal Pictures, a serious escalation of dispute over the merits of releasing movies in theaters before allowing the public to watch them online.
Fuck those guys.
Got a lot of big movies coming up. Yeah, this is a year. You know, you got the Fast series, you got Halloween sequel.
Is it Universal who does the Jurassic
There's a Halloween
World?
sequel coming?
Yeah, there's two coming. There's one this year, one next year.
Universal's Jurassic World is Jurassic. That's who does Jurassic World stuff.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm trying to see that.
Yep, there you go. There, and I think that was next year.
That's next year.
So-
but if this doesn't clear up,
it's gonna push. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So what's the detail? What's going on there?
So I've read a lot of articles on this. I've studied a lot of Twitter feeds, back and forth between Cineworld, AMC, everybody's point of view. In my opinion, I side with both on this. I understand both arguments. Now, first of all, the obvious. The obvious when it comes to the theaters saying they're going to ban them. I understand that because Universal's thinking is that they are going to show the movie on video on demand as well as get a release date in the theaters at the same time. You can't do that. That takes away from theater profits. That's obviously not good for the theaters themselves. So I understand why they're getting big for their britches. I don't think it's going to, hold out. I think once they start seeing Fast and Furious numbers and Halloween numbers and all those big franchises, they're going to miss those a lot.
So Universal is stating even after theaters open back up that they're still going to do movies direct to demand off the rip.
So from Universal's point of view, they're saying we've seen the success that Trolls World Tour has had on video on demand, a movie that would not even have half the box office in theaters that it had on video on demand.
But that's because of the situation at hand.
Right. But they've seen these numbers though, and they're automatically in love with them. So their thinking is, well, we can give audience for certain movies. We can go, we're going to play it in theaters, but you don't want to go to the theater. For $20, you can watch it at home.
So you might know the answer, but if not, Jesse, tag in.
Mm-hmm.
What does it hurt them? Does the theater pay to have that movie?
Yes.
Like to be able to play it?
Yeah. So the way that it
so
works
if Universal's going to still charge them full, then I'd be like, yeah, fuck you.
Yeah. Theaters pay. That's why you have like rival theaters that are in the same neighborhood often have different movies because they'll bid on the movie that they get.
Gotcha. That's
so
crazy.
Yeah. So I remember they used to tell us whenever we had film, I don't know if it's still the case with digital, but if you lost a film, it could be up to like 60 grand or something like that from my location.
What do they pay? Like, is it like, what do you, like, if I want to be the theater or if I want to be able to show Tenet,
right?
Like, what does something like that cost? Is it individual theater or is it the company? Like,
I
all
think
of AMC can play it.
You're renting it.
AMC pays for it.
Yeah, so you're never going to get a movie where you're not going to see a Tenet that's not playing at any AMC. You pay by location, which is usually distributed and determined by the Regal. So like Regal would look at it and go, okay, your Independence location does no business. They've got a rival company down the street. We can try to pay for Tenet and we'll boost those numbers for the month. Or they could go, you know what? It's a loss. People don't go here anyways. We're going to send it out to Montrose, make sure that they get it because they're a bigger theater. I went through that a lot whenever I was at Independence working because it was by Chapel Hill. They get 80 people a day. Yeah. They would get the really, really big releases, but something that might do well, that's like kind of middle of the road, probably wouldn't show up there. You might miss out on a Fast and Furious because you're going to have people where it's not going to be box office blowout like Harry Potter. But they might take a loss on that.
So in this aspect, is Universal, I don't know if it's even come out yet, but are they expecting to still charge the same thing to a theater if they're looking to split demand? Say just for sake of numbers, it's $1,000, which obviously it's way more than that, but it's $1,000 if you want to play this movie under normal circumstances. But now Universal's saying, well, we're going to do theater plus on demand. If they're like, well, we'll charge $500 instead, if I'm the theater, I'd probably still take it because you're still looking, or are they just saying is there anything saying they're going to change their algorithm?
But the theaters look at it as, they're cutting into their profits regardless, because if you have an avenue to watch it in the comfort of your own home, especially if you have a family, like you're going to rather take that effort. So I can understand it from the theater point of view and saying like, look, we're going to cut you off then. Now, why I understand that from Universal's point of view is the obvious. On a movie like Trolls World Tour, which wouldn't have done jack shit in the theater,
right?
They got to make as much money as they can, especially considering we're in, a pandemic where nothing is certain. Tomorrow's not certain. So they have to make the profit while they can. I certainly can't fault them for that. So it's a weird juxtaposition.
I guess I guess my thing is if it's a big name movie, what's one of the biggest movies supposed to come out this year?
Tenet.
Okay, so like if you say, is Tenet Universal?
No, it's Syncopy.
So let's say it was Universal.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying, like, if I'm a theater and I'm not gonna, would you turn that away?
So this is
knowing the numbers it's probably gonna pull. Are you gonna say, you know what, screw Universal, I'm not gonna have it? But because it's only a couple theaters. Like, I mean, AMC, or if it's me and I'm looking at it just business standpoint, if I'm saying, hey, look, I know Regal ain't taking this, I'm gonna fucking take it. It's the only place people are gonna be able to come see it if they don't want to do on demand. Like, you're gonna rake that money in. Like,
well, and AMC's momentum is they're already bleeding money as it is. Remember we talked about the bankruptcy talks on here that, they were already talking about folding before they got bailed out. So they can't afford to bleed any more money.
Wait, who got bailed out?
Nobody yet. But the argument there though isn't just, it's not about the ticket prices. A lot of things people don't realize
concession is where you make the money, right?
Right. People don't realize that movie theaters do not get their monies from your tickets. When you go in there and you pay $10.50 for a regular movie or $14 for a 3D movie, 80% or more of that ticket price goes back to the production company. That's how they pay their actors. That's how they pay for the special effects department.
Even though the theater's already paying to show that movie?
Yes. And that's why your concessions is so expensive. That's why they use things. People don't think about it because everybody thinks popcorn is like, oh, movie theater, whatever. The reason they sell popcorn is because popcorn is dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And you can spend, they make
that's nasty as shit.
Whatever. But popcorn and candy and pop are things that you can get for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
You can make $1,000 off of one thing, one box of Coke syrup.
Absolutely.
You can get, thousands of dollars off of one 50-pound bag of popcorn.
Markup on food is always there's a lot of profit margin in
right.
kind of,
and it's not because theaters are greedy. It's not because they're trying to get over on you on these things. They know that they're cheap, but that's how movie theaters stay open.
I think a lot of people realize that though, and I didn't realize because, like, to your point, that's double dipping. It seems like to me. I'm paying to see your movie. I'm paying to be able to show you your movie, and then I'm paying you back again with the ticket sales that I get because of that movie.
Yes,
like that seems kind of shitty on that. That seems kind of off.
Companies do it all the time.
But to me, I mean, I guess I'm ignorant to it because I would think of, like, I'm paying you to be able to show that movie. At that point, I paid you. Now I have the ability to show it. Anything I make from it is my money.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy to me.
But that's how
that
you
seems
get
like a ass backwards like system.
That's how you get movies like Avengers Endgame, though, that cost hundreds of millions of dollars to make.
Yeah.
You're never going to get that film if you're not making that money off of your ticket sales.
And I'm glad.
I guess that does make sense.
I'm glad Jesse brought up that movie because when Infinity War, the first one, came out a couple summers ago, their company, which is Marvel, they raked drive-ins over the coals.
Yeah.
They charge drive-ins more than conventional movie theaters, and so studios have that power and they'll take advantage of it. So that's why you have theaters stepping up and going like, look, enough's enough.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I guess I did know the ticket part because I did know they always base like, oh, this weekend's ticket sales were this, and that's how they make their money.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I just never thought about the detail of, like, we're giving you the money from the ticket sales plus we're giving you money to be able to show it. Like, I would think at that point, it should be one or the other. Like, we're going to pay you for the movie, or like, we don't have to pay you for the movie, but you get 100% of the ticket sales or whatever, or something.
Yeah.
That just seems crazy to me.
Very much so.
That's why, I mean, theaters got to be struggling.
And that's the thing, is like,
rough.
We talk about how, the money that comes in for these movies, do you really want to take the hit on that? Yeah, if it's a movie the level of Tenet, then yes, you're going to miss out on it. But here's some examples of some Universal movies that came out last year in 2019 that you would have to take on for minimum amounts that you probably aren't going to make your money back on. Hobbs and Shaw, 1917, a huge one you wouldn't want to miss out on.
Yeah.
But then you also have Abominable. All the people are going to watch that at home with kids.
Mhm.
Cats,
Oh,
Secret Life of Pets 2, that's going to be watched at home. How to Train Your Dragon 2, that's
good.
going to be watched at home. Us, you're going to miss out on that
good.
one.
I love Us.
Queen and Slim, great movie.
I liked it.
Nobody went to see it
Yeah.
though.
You saw it too?
I heard it was great. I shouldn't
enjoyed
say
it,
that it was
yeah.
great. Ratings and stuff were great. I
Yeah.
really wanted to see it. Haven't had a chance. Glass, a movie a bunch of people saw.
Ugh.
I know, not good. Good Boys, another movie that was
I was disappointed.
Yeah, it's just middle of the road.
Yeah, I was disappointed. these are all
yesterday,
Universal.
Last Christmas, Ma, Black Christmas, Little, Dog's Journey, and Happy Death Day 2. You're going to take the hit on paying for those movies because you're not bringing in the people.
Mhm.
And if it's available, I'm not going to go and see Happy Death Day 2. I'm going to say, hey, Chris, you're going to go and see that, right? Well, you're going to do a review. Let me just come over and watch it with you because I'm not going to do it. I'll give you $10.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I feel that. I mean, and that it's interesting when you think about that, and I wonder what goes into the bidding wars or the executives that make that decision of what they want to play.
Yeah.
Because it's a gamble. I mean, some of those movies, it's like, I mean, there's some movies I'm pretty easy.
Yeah.
Like I'm pretty easily entertained. There's not much I like hate. And I like going to the movies. I'll pretty much like, if I'm in the mood to go to a movie, I'm going to figure out something to go see. Like it might not be a movie I like, oh, super pumped for, but if I just like going, so I'll go and see something. But yeah, I mean, you're at a gamble at that point. If you're like an Abominable, like kids movies, I think for anything that's like really directed towards children, I feel like it's got to be a tough theater profit margin.
Yes.
Because families can't afford to take all their kids to go to a movie and then want to buy concessions and stuff. It's expensive, man.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
So
theater movies for kids always did well.
Yeah.
I know because I had to clean up after them. They
Yeah.
would sell out like crazy.
Really?
Lego movie, all that other stuff.
Oh, he's right.
But when it comes time for the availability of it at home,
oh yeah, they're
and you
not going.
don't have to take the kid.
Yeah.
That's why Trolls did so well.
That's why I think to me, like there's a compromise to be worked out here. You can take those kids films or even smaller films, you know, that Jesse mentioned, like Good Boys. You don't have to show that in theaters. You can take that to the video on demand route and hope for more promise there than you would have gotten in the theaters. But then you have those blockbusters that you have to show in theaters.
Absolutely.
I could not imagine watching Tenet anywhere else, and I don't want to, quite frankly. So to me, I think there's a compromise to be worked out. I think it's all going to blow over anyway. AMC can't afford to say no to much anymore anyway.
They're just trying to, I think they're trying to make it a point.
Yeah.
They're trying to stick it to them. But when it comes to their pockets and being able to stay open, they're going to figure it out. Now, it's hard because you can't tell someone how to operate their business.
Yeah.
And in Universal's point, like if they can make the money both ways,
they're going to do it.
Why not do it?
Yeah.
I think that for respect for the industry and in the essence of not wanting to lose the theater experience, there should be some sort of like you're in theater for 2 weeks before it goes to on demand or something like that.
That'd be fun.
And do it like do it a little delay, because it used to be like it'd be in theater for like several months before you got an opportunity to see it on DVD or on demand or anything.
Yeah.
So at least do something where they get like the person that really wants to see it, doesn't want to wait, is going to still go to the theater. But then like the other people can hold out for a little while and wait for it to
get a review out.
It still gives you those 2 week big box office weekends, because your first 2 weekends are usually your first week is usually when you're going to make the majority of the sales for that movie, and then it starts to dwindle off.
I like that. That's a good
So
idea.
give them a
actually.
2 week window and then go to on demand,
Yeah.
meet in the middle or something.
I think that's the
But
compromise.
right off the rip is rough. I mean, that's really killing your big box office weekend for that film. And that's just kind of greed.
I think if it was a different production company, this could have gone a whole different way. I think the theaters are going to end up coming out on top of this. But even though Universal is huge and Universal Studios, the Universals, the Paramounts, those huge places are the ones that are going to just dish out movie after movie. And it's all fan service, big explosions. They're going to love this. And it's the Fast and the Furiouses. And they get a big one here and there that really does well. But they're not picking and choosing all of their content like an A24, a Bad Robot, a Syncope or however you pronounce it. But like, had Disney done this, that would be the end.
Industry.
That would be the end of movie theaters.
Imagine it.
And we talked about that when all of this first happened and they shut down the movie theaters.
Yeah.
Because we said, what if they do go straight to on demand? And I said, I was worried that would be the downfall of movie theaters.
Yeah.
I'm glad that this was Universal that did it and they're getting this pushback because I honestly hope that they follow through and they take a huge hit
Yeah.
because I don't want to see movie theaters fail.
Nope.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Yeah.
drive-ins,
Yes.
drive-in theaters are saying they're going to open.
And not just here in Ohio. It seems to be on a American scale that they're opening everywhere.
So I think that's good news for movies that are supposed to be coming out soon that have not been delayed yet, that still have tentative release dates. It's different. It's not the same experience, but at least gives us something to do where we can still maintain some distancing and be safe in doing it. They haven't set any exact date, right?
Just May.
If it's coming up here soon.
They said it's in May, but there's no date yet. They're still rolling out the discussions. I heard that DeWine, our governor, might be talking next week about more of the details that goes into the distancing.
Yeah.
I've heard as much as bathrooms are going to be shut off. They might only show one movie, on each screen, and then you got to go home.
I hope not, because part of the fun, not part of the fun, part of the bargain of a drive-in is you get 2 movies for like $20.
I agree.
And an unlimited car full of people. I mean, you pay per car.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, you go see 2 blockbuster movies for $20. That's cheap, man.
I know Autorama last year already rolled out the touchless pay. Like you can either pay in advance or you can pay when you get there, but it's not, there's nobody there to take your pay.
Oh, that's cool.
So I think they're going to do that. I think the concession stands are going to be closed.
See, that's tough too, which I was going to say. I hope they don't, just because I know, just like we talked about with other theaters, they rely on that for.
And they take a hit anyways from people sneaking stuff.
Well, I was going to say, they do have where they did change it to where it used to be no food, and then they knew people were sneaking food in. So then they did kind of based on the honor system, where it's now you can pay like $5 or $10
if you bring
extra to bring in your own food to try and make up. So I'm wondering if maybe they'll do something like maybe prices go to $25 or something, to try and compensate. Because I would hate to see any kind of failure. Drive-ins is one of my favorite things, regardless. Like, so knowing that it's going to be open is awesome because I'm looking forward just in general to those, but then to compensate for no theaters right now. So that's big news.
They definitely couldn't do our Halloween movie marathon that they do every year because there's 4 movies a night. So to me, I think right now it's obviously October, so it's a long way away. But they obviously wouldn't do that right now.
Yeah, I think normal opening time for drive-ins is like right now anyway, so they're not too far behind schedule. It's usually like very end of April or beginning of May.
I think it was like a week ago. Yeah, it was like when Autorama was going to open and everybody was sad and pissed about it. Yeah.
So I mean, good news in that aspect. I don't know what their showing schedule will be as far as like what movies they might line up.
I don't know.
But if they're open in the next 2 weeks or so, I'll be pumped. We need to do like a drive-in movie night or something. I love to, because I got my Jeep, so I have no back seat in it.
Yeah.
I just fill it with blankets and pillows. Usually Grayson comes with me and we just hang out. Just a fun experience. So drive-in, something to look forward to. I'm pretty excited about that. And no date yet. But
no date, and they're even talking about rolling some high school graduations out at some drive-ins, so that's interesting.
Doing it at a drive-in theater?
Like renting it out and putting their name up like a virtual graduation ceremony, basically.
You would just sit in your car?
You'd sit in your car, you'd honk, when your kid's name got named or something. I've heard it. A couple schools around here are doing it at Midway.
That's a good idea.
So
that's interesting.
That's one thing that we've been doing meetings about is what we're going to do for graduation.
Yeah.
It puts you guys in a tough spot too. I mean, there's so much that we were so unprepared for.
Yeah, they're tossing around the idea of having them come in 10 people at a time. And they were like, yeah, we'll have them do like 10 at a time, and we'll make sure that each kid gets like 5 minutes for their thing. And we're sitting in the meeting, and I'm sitting there. Our school counselor, she's a former math teacher. She goes, I don't think anybody did the math on this, but if we give 5 minutes for every single one of these kids, then we're going to do
a week.
We're going to do 100 kids a night, and they're going to that's going to be a 5-hour ceremony, and we're going to be doing there's no way.
Yeah. There's some cool things that they can roll out. I've seen stuff going on about driving concerts.
Yeah.
Where they've had the ability to have a stage and you just stay in your vehicle and you park and pull up like that, which I think I would be on board for that.
I saw a meme today. I think it was Georgia or somewhere in the South. They had a drive-through strip club.
No, it was like Nevada. I saw that.
Yeah.
Did you see it? The actual pictures of them on the.
Like,
was that for real?
I think.
It looked like it was legit.
Like, what?
They had drive
going
up,
on?
like
boobies pressed on the
chick
glass.
got pasties, and she's on her pole, and the dude's just got a car sitting next to the table. It's like, what is going on?
Gated off, and then a stripper pole on each side on a stage, and then just stripping.
Strip club's not my thing to begin with, but I'm
Me
definitely not doing it for my car.
Driving, like that's awkward.
Only
What do they
Vegas.
like? You get like a couple minutes to sit there, and then you got to move on. Like, I mean, strippers need their money too, I guess, but that's super weird.
I guess.
I want to be a part of that pitch meeting. I'm talking titties on the glass.
Good Lord.
Jeez, man.
So
That's all I got this week, though.
No, that's cool though. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to driving. It's just a little bit of light for us. I mean, something to look forward to that is looking to actually open soon.
Normalcy.
So some normalcy.
How many movies do you think are going to be open though? Because a lot of them have been delayed.
I know. That's
Is
what I
that
was
going to hit their
saying.
business? You think?
That's the
I
question.
wonder what their scheduling is going to be.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the question I ask in all this is like, are they just going to show classic movies? Are they going to show new release movies?
Here's the deal, though.
Oh, dude,
Here's
that
the-
would be dope if they did classic films.
That's what I was going to say. Here's the thing. They could, at this point, because there's going to be nothing for people to do, they could just play whatever. I mean, they could play older movies and stuff and have people still come and show up just for wanting to get out and do something.
Yeah.
They do that. I go to Magic City, I think, the one that's in Barberton area.
Barberton,
I'm a Midway guy.
I go to Magic City and they'll do that. They do like 80s movies nights and like 90s movie nights and stuff there anyways, and they're always a huge hit.
Mhm.
Honestly, I think they could get away with that throughout the summer. Like have their their big releases, but then for the filler-ins for like the week and stuff,
Yeah.
they could do some throwback movies, do some movie marathons
Dude,
or something.
I would love if they did like genre weeks, like
yeah.
Gangster Week,
That's-
or like Monday you're seeing Goodfellas,
So-
Tuesday's The Godfather.
That's Autorama up in Ridgeville. They do that.
See, I've never heard of that. I'm gonna have to go check
so
them out.
good. So they have Retro Tuesdays on the summertime, and they'll show like all 3 Friday films on one night. They'll show
Nice.
all kinds of cool stuff.
So I wonder in that aspect, so like a drive-in that does a throwback weekend for a movie that's pre-released, do they have to like reach out to someone about playing that?
Yes.
Yeah,
before
they
they do
pay
it?
for that too.
Okay, they pay like royalty on it or
And
something
most
like
of the time they pay more than an actual movie theater does because they know they can sock it to them, the companies.
that.
Yeah, they can't just bring their DVD in and
Just
press
play.
play. I mean, they
They
could, but
could.
nobody.
Just
If
get
they
rid-
get caught, they're gonna
So
get.
who's gonna like who in the audience is gonna be like call up like I wonder if they paid for this. Like I want to reach out just to make sure.
This
They-
wasn't an authentic cut.
They have people that check that stuff.
You think so?
I know so because I know we had Disney reps that would come to our movie theater to check how
Oh
many
my
posters we had. on
God.
Yeah, but like you're gonna
Disney
send
is Nazis, man.
send somebody
They
out.
are.
Like I feel like that's gotta be so costly to send someone out to every theater to check in on what they're playing.
Well, they've got representatives that, like Disney has representatives here that make sure that theaters are holding
Yeah.
up their contract. Paramount, Universal, and all of them do as well.
I guess it's
And
as quick
it's-
as just going on their website and see what they're showing.
simple to
playing.
go over there and check it out.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's some good news for us. In the dark of Hollywood Report with the whole Universal scandal is the drive-throughs are opening. So, as far as at least us Ohioans, something to look forward to in the next 2 weeks or so.
For sure.
With that being said, we'll get into Let's Get Social and talk about what changes have happened with COVID. We got some other stuff to talk about as well. It'll kind of tie into this drive-in movies and what we're limited on and everything right now. So let's get social.
It is July 20th, 1969, and man is about to land on the moon.
Freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
That's the way the news goes.
Good old Bill. I love Bill. So let's get social. This is our gig segment. This is our thing. We're here for.
It's pretty much our gig.
It's pretty much our gig now to talk about COVID every single week. And any updates that might have happened. So since last week, biggest change is that they, wine with DeWine 2:00 every day. They started talking about their phases, their rollouts, what we're doing each week or month, what's changing. So they basically talked May 1st through May 12th or 14th, I think it was. What's allowed to open, what our protocols are. It was basically outlined around manufacturing, construction, and some retail was in this first phase. It went to mandatory face masks for all employees at wherever you're working. You have to be able to allocate a certain amount of safety and security to be allowed to be open. So you have to be able to operate behind some kind of plexiglass if you're customer facing, not in an office space, behind some kind of plexiglass barrier or wall or something. You're required to wear a mask. Customers are not required, but that at this point they've given the authority to businesses to allow them to say it's required. So previously, some businesses were requiring it, but it wasn't really regulated. It wasn't like really a necessarily a loud thing. Now, Amy Action and Governor DeWine have said, hey, we're going to give you guys as the business the ability without any kind of recourse legality of it to say you want your customers to wear masks. So, which I'm on board with either way. Like, again, as an employee, I get them wanting to do it, because they're there day in, day out dealing with a lot of people. So it's kind of limiting exposure to them. If a business tells me they want me to wear a mask to come in their store, obviously I'm going to abide by it. So that was a big one. Everything else still was required to stay closed, though. I mean, no salons, barbershops, tattoo shops, restaurants, bars, gyms, all still required for now to stay closed. They changed the name from Stay Home to what? Stay Safe Ohio.
Safe, yeah.
Yep.
So it's not Stay Home Ohio. The Stay at Home order. Now, this is so contradictory, and it seems to be a common thing right now. The Stay at Home order has, quote unquote, been lifted to stay safe. And they've rolled out a different line of precautions, like wearing the masks in public and things like that. But they are still saying they're implementing fines. It's like a fine of $750 or like up to 2 days or 2 weeks in jail or something. So again,
If you're not at home?
yeah, like if you're out and about, which I don't get because I don't understand how they're enforcing it. They weren't enforcing it. Like, I never saw anyone getting pulled over or anything previously. I haven't heard of anybody getting pulled over. I've never had to use my essential get out of free jail card letter from my employer or anything. It's so confusing. It's one first DeWine said we are required to wear masks, then it was we're not required to wear masks. I don't know,
dude. It's funny because like I said that right after that was it the Monday meeting when he announced all this stuff was going into effect?
Yeah, it was Monday.
Okay, so like right after that Monday one, I was like, guys, I am so confused. That guy just contradicted himself at least 3 times, and I got hurled at, man.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, oh, he didn't understand.
He's not. I know.
I'm like, well, I heard what I heard. He contradicted himself at least 3 times.
Because they did. I mean, he legit said everyone's going to be required to wear a mask in store and employees.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think he got pushed back.
Right.
And then they came back and they changed it to said, okay, we hear you. We're trying to keep everybody safe. It is really, I don't know.
Strongly recommended.
Strongly recommended that if you're out in public or in stores, you wear a mask, but we're not going to require you as a consumer to do it. So the back and forth, I think, is what's been a lot of people's frustration with this from day one.
Yeah.
Is that like, let's do this and use whatever pun or example you want, but the big one that's been going around, people are sharing about wearing masks and not wearing masks is, well, 2. Requiring somebody to wear a mask after not for 2 months is like telling someone to take birth control after they're already pregnant.
Yeah.
Or something along those lines, or wear a condom after they're already pregnant. And then the other one is going around. Have you guys seen about the pee in your pants?
Yes.
So the analogy of
Bill Squire did that on
if you
Alan Cox show.
It's if you're not wearing pants, and if someone's not wearing pants and you are, and they piss, your pants are going to get wet,
right?
And they're going to piss on themselves. If they're wearing pants but you're not, they're only going to get peed on. And if you both wear pants, then they're going to get peed on. You're going to be fine.
When do we start training for this?
Right. So like the mask thing, like if you're wearing one and somebody coughs, like at least they're protecting you a little bit. Whatever analogy you want to use, but if you want to wear the mask, cool. I don't know what the right direction is. Again, like we've been out in public and as essential workers, which me and Chris both are. I have
teachers aren't essential.
Well, Jesse's at home. He's not. I mean,
I'd trade places with you in a second.
Yeah, Jesse. I mean, you're not deemed an essential worker. You don't have to go to work every day.
I'm not essential.
Jesse's not essential.
I just educate the future.
Yeah, I mean, educate uses that very lightly.
Educate, I don't use lightly. Future, though.
Yeah, future. Okay, future. But so
hit my button on that.
Me and shoot.
Oh, damn it.
I used the wrong freaking button, amateur hour.
We're all
here.
messed up over here.
I switched screens and I forgot what I freaking did. Now I'm all. Now I just screwed
The
up.
thoughts and comments of Jesse Young do
There we
not
go.
reflect the Made to Motivate podcast in any way.
Oh, that was like an official live reading.
Jesse's great there. So me and Chris are still attending work at our normal place of business each day. We are quote unquote essential. But we have not been required to wear masks or anything for all this time when it was worse. Now we're going on the downslope.
Oh yeah, I see.
And they were saying, let's wear masks.
Yeah.
Like, it just seems kind of whatever. You want me to wear a mask and wear a mask. It's just silly. Like, they should have required it at all places of employment previously, rather than now. So that's one of the biggest updates. I'm sure. So the Stay Safe Ohio thing, he's gone on to say there's no firm dates. Don't quote him on a date. There'll be updates as things roll out and numbers come out, how cases progress or decline.
Well, he gave a date when it's through, like through the 29th.
It's through,
but
yeah,
then he
the
said
end of
don't
May.
take stock in that date though. That's
Right.
It's not like it's going to end on that day. Like,
right,
you
that's
know,
what he said.
They'll re-extend it after that, I'm sure.
Yeah, so the Stay Safe order is through the end of the month, but he did say they're going to evaluate it on a day-to-day or week-to-week basis or whatever. So biggest updates is just the wearing masks things as employers. You'll see more and more places with the plexiglass shields or some kind of shield for their workers if they haven't had one previously. It's really funny to see, and you can kind of see what's the right word, how a business is operated or their management structure. Are they a corporation? Are they locally owned? In the quality or setup of their plexiglass. It's really funny to see the difference. If you go to like a big corporation,
okay,
it's like a really professional, like a manufactured setup.
Okay.
And then I went to another place. I don't want to put them out there, but I went to another place the other day as a food establishment to do pickup.
Okay.
And they made like their own. And it was like some janky chain.
Oh my God.
And then like a piece of plexiglass. And then they took some wood and there's like 3 random pieces of wood and it's hanging all crooked and they've got the plexiglass like kind of attached to just like some scrap wood and it's like hanging from their ceiling. And then like,
wow.
Well, you know what? It's kind of contradictory actually now that I say that, because they probably rely on the local establishments themselves to hold it, because one of the McDonald's locally here, I don't remember which one I went to, their sign was super jank.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the drive-thrus they've got that where it like covers part of the window.
That's weird because I haven't seen that.
I put up a tweet because I took a picture of one,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, I tagged McDonald's on it, and I was like, McDonald's, I don't know what you think this thing is doing, because unless your worker's a freaking Yeti and 10 feet tall, this isn't doing any good, because I'm in a Jeep which sits pretty high.
Yeah.
And I was still at eye level with the person, and the glass was probably 6 inches above their head. So I mean, unless I'm like super like sitting in a freaking monster truck or they're super tall, that glass is nowhere in front of their face.
They have no idea.
So
what they're doing,
that
man.
was one thing I found super weird. And then also the setup was super janky. They had like 20 pieces of Velcro on the outside and then like Velcro on a piece of plexiglass. I don't know if it's so they can like maybe raise and lower it based on who the worker is or something, but it looks so awful.
Oh man.
And then there's just some places where you can tell like it was manufactured, like they got it somewhere. It's all really nice, like molded.
Yeah.
And, like it's like it looks professional.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just interesting to see the different layouts of stuff. But yeah, shields in place. Otherwise, we're gonna kind of wait and see what the next order is. A big thing with Amy Action. You want to talk about Amy Action? What happened with that, Chris or Jesse?
So basically, I think it was either today or yesterday. I saw the post today. The protesters that are meeting outside of the Ohio courthouse where they're holding the meetings every day, they went to Amy Acton's house and are now badgering her outside of her own home,
which is super shitty.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't care what side of the coin you're on in this whole debate. That's wrong in any language.
You
And if you think that's acceptable, you are a bad person.
Yeah.
Well, and DeWine came out and he said, like, every single person that's doing this, I put in place. So if you've got something to say, come to me.
I want to know where they found out where she lived. They follow her home from one of the.
That's scary.
Like that is scary to think about. Like if you want to debate or you want to peacefully protest or whatever, well, and one, these people are like marching up and down the street with assault rifles.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why that's necessary to be at someone's house protesting. It's not like, I don't know. That seemed a little extra to me. I'm open to freedom of speech and whatever you want to do, and if that's your thing, but it's excessive. But anyways, do your protest at the courthouse or like you said, wherever they're holding these meetings. Going to her house directly, that's scary, man. Like you don't put someone in that position. Someone that's, again, like Jesse said, been appointed by the governor. One, two is just doing her job, fact based, giving you numbers that are real. Like she's not out here to get anybody. Like I just feel bad. I like her. I think she's been very well versed in the things that she's discussed. I think she's brought a lot to the table. I think anybody that's at her house trying to threaten her, that's ridiculous. And you're not going to get anywhere. Governor DeWine ain't going to just be like, well, cool, they're at her house picketing. I guess we're going to open up the world now.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not just her, it's her family too. You got to think
That's what
about
I'm saying.
too.
Like,
so you're scaring them, all this stuff. Like that's completely out of line. I had no problem with them going to the courthouse and doing everything they're doing. That's fine. As long as they're not in the courthouse. But like going to someone's house, that's inexcusable.
Yeah. I just think you cross a line at that point.
My thing is, it's just like when it comes to the whole assault rifle thing, this isn't a gun issue.
Right. Why do
I totally understand if you feel like a law is infringing on our gun rights. Like I said, I went shooting today.
Yep.
But
it's not related.
It's not related.
But it always is.
It's just a show of force, and people can make the argument, but it's not. It's just not. And when it comes down to it, like it makes us look ignorant. It makes your party look ignorant. It makes whoever it is that you're supporting at the time look ignorant, and it also shows your ignorance to the idea of what this actually is. You're not protesting anything for the sake of safety and health. You're protesting for the fact of you want to show force and power, and you want things to go back to normal when science and facts are saying that can't happen right now for your safety.
Another thing that I thought was really funny, and it's just a meme or whatever, but I thought was really funny was all of these like gun-toting life, what is it called? Apocalypse prepared people and stuff. Are all like ready for the zombie apocalypse and the end of the world, and then the second like things get shut down, they're like, "Oh, we want the world to be back open." Like, this is what you've been preparing for. Go freaking home and sit in your dungeon room with all of your guns and food and toilet paper.
You're real hard when you're watching season 4 of The Walking Dead.
Live out your
exactly.
Like you prepared for this. You've been preparing for this your whole life, and now that it's actually happening, now you want to cry about it. Like,
right.
I just thought it was humorous, but
it's the things that people think are acceptable now. Like I love the meme where it shows, Trump called them great people, and he reached out to, Michigan and said, maybe you should meet them both halfway. These are good citizens who are just trying to advocate their rights. But he called Colin Kaepernick a son of a bitch. Like,
I know.
It's just like it all just depends on which side you're on. Right. People don't care about protesting as a right. They care about protesting if it matches what they believe in.
They'll twist anything to fit their agenda. You can twist facts. You can take any fact and make it fit your agenda, because you'll figure out some way to twist it to be what you need it to be for you. Right. So I just feel bad for her. I think that this is just out of place to be putting her individually in harm's way, or her family, or anything like that, or making her be fearful. Like she's not a political figure. She's not making these decisions. She's providing the information, and then at that point they're deciding. I know she's advising, but still.
Well, and Chris, didn't you say that they were chanting or had a sign or something that was vaguely a veiled threat? Like what was it that they said?
You're talking when they were outside her house?
Yeah.
I just saw just basically, what they think is clever signs, like Acton has to go. It was nothing that was like.
Well, I had said something.
Okay.
And it was that they it was a quote. I didn't see like a sign or anything, but it was like an article I read, and it was something like, "We will peacefully protest for now," or something.
Right.
And it was the people that were like marching up and down the street with weapons, like.
And that's the thing.
Don't throw out like threats to her. Like, what are you gonna do? Like,
and at that point, that's no longer a protest as far as I'm concerned. Because when you get back to, like I said, I have no problem with, you have a right to open carry, you have a right to arms, and I'm with that. but you can't go around threatening people. And that's the same reason why initially when we had these open gun protests, when you get all the way back to like the Black Panther days, when they were standing at the courthouses with their weapons, the reason that they changed those laws and did all of that stuff was because they said that they were threatening people when they called people to action, and they were going around and they were telling black people what their rights were when they were pulled over by police, and they were telling them what their rights were with open carry, and they felt threatened by that. And so they said, well, this is a threat, so we're changing the law. Now, I don't think that they were, they weren't any, for the most part, there weren't any open threats. There's always somebody in every group that ruins it for everybody. You can choose any group and you can do that.
Yep.
But you can't go around having veiled threats, direct threats, whatever it is. If you want to stand out there with your gun, that's your legal right. You can do that, and you can say that you don't agree. And while I don't think it's a gun issue and the gun's not needed, I'm not going to tell you how to protest. But as soon as it starts turning into a threat of, we're going to do this for now, or don't make us do something, you are no longer protesting. You are now an armed threat to a political figure.
I agree. If they don't show me any mercy, I'm not showing them any either. And I'm calling the cops as soon as I see that sign. I'm telling you, get the hell off my property.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing too. Like, you can peacefully protest anywhere. I mean, they're just like on her neighborhood street. Like they're saying like the sidewalk.
You can't do anything on the sidewalk.
You're not allowed?
No. You can't do anything about them being on the sidewalk.
Property, right?
Yeah. As soon as they step on her yard, she could say this is private property and they could be arrested for trespassing.
I think they're even across the street from her house. But either way, like,
yeah, sidewalks are city property. So is the Devil Strip.
Keep it at the courthouse, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no reason to get personal and mess with specific people.
Yeah. Protest what you want as far as the ability to reopen, but it shouldn't be directed at her as an individual. And like DeWine said, to step up and say, look, this is me. I'm the one that initiated these actions, take it up with me.
And that's true leader.
Yeah, absolutely.
We just had 1,000 more cases in Georgia yesterday. I mean, like, that's a bad leader. Right. So that's what,
because they opened up beaches and stuff back up right away, didn't they?
Yeah. So that's what it could be. So shut your mouths and just, let the professionals do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know where it's going to end up. Like things keep changing on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis as far as time frames go, what we're required to do. We haven't had any drastic changes for several weeks at this point, other than, we extended the order for another month. It's a little bit more laxed at this point. But no real changes as far as dates for anything else. I think the 14th is when, as of now, like he said, nothing definitive, but the 14th is when there's supposed to be that next phase where I think restaurants and stuff are supposed to be on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think that they were initially supposed to be a part of that second go around. Was supposed to be like restaurants, barbershops, things like that.
I didn't know phase 2 was happening that fast.
Yeah, because what he said is they're not calling them like phases, but they're just rolling it out, and they're like, it seems like they're in 2-week time frames. So the 12th or 14th is the next round of openings of some sort.
So do the smart thing and keep your distance, because if we do open up all this stuff and get bad again, we're going to be right back where we're at. So
that's my concern. And like, we're here back in studio, but again, like we're still within
fingertips.
Yeah, we can't finger
each other.
We can't finger each other. And outside of here, we're distancing and doing the appropriate thing. So we're not having it. We're under the number. I think the number was 5, and then I think they said back to 10 now.
Yeah, it's 10. Yeah,
they moved it back to 10. So we're still within our small group. We're not sitting neck and neck with each other. We're not fingering over here.
Oh man.
But so anyways, yeah. But be within reason. My concern is that when they announced like this, it getting more lax.
Yeah.
Is just the people that don't care or don't have any sense, just getting back out there and just going ham again.
Yeah.
And then that fearfulness of crap, I don't want another month from now or 2 weeks from now for us to have to relapse.
Right.
Businesses aren't going to be able to take another setback. We do not want to get into they already said end of the year that we're going to possibly run into this, second wave of it or whatever, but do your best right now to try and, follow the rules, stay within reason, be safe, as they're calling it. So that we can move forward and hopefully have somewhat of like a fruitful summer or whatever. But that's it for COVID updates for the most part. Anything else COVID related? We had the other topic for Let's Get Social. Kim Jong-un.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
we were wrong. You might be alive.
So we try and be as fact-based as possible.
Retraction.
So listen though, we last week, now again, we were going off sources. We always source stuff before we talk about it. And it was reported by multiple sites.
New York Times had reported it.
Yeah,
everybody was reporting.
There was a couple of sites that reported it. So we talked about Kim Jong-un and that supposedly he was either 1 deceased or 2 in like a vegetated state and soon to be deceased. And we were talking about who might take over, who's going to reprise his role, or whatever it is. Now, yesterday, I read an article that shows that he made an appearance at like a ribbon cutting for a fertilizer plant opening. So I don't know if this is like a dummy, like Saddam Hussein had like lookalikes that would go out and be in his place in certain situations. So I don't know if Kim Jong-un has similar setup like that. And it wouldn't be out of character for North Korea to mislead us in the media.
That's what I was going to say.
As far as is he really alive or not, and not want to.
And there's photos of him cutting this ribbon. It's not just rumors like we had before.
I looked at it, and so I don't know. Maybe they falsely reported. Maybe it was a bad tip leak. I mean, it was coming from like when they said that he was deceased. It was like Japanese media. It was like a couple countries, China, that had reported about it, like that they had heard and knew that it had happened.
So here,
I don't know.
Just quick before, Trump has come out and said that he is glad to see that he is back and well. So there's that.
We were wondering if he was going to freaking come out and defend his buddy.
So here's what I question about that. So like, it is just a photo. We don't see a date. We don't see anything. Could it be possibly that it's an old
Staged.
doctored photo?
It's
possible. Anything's possible in North Korea. I mean, their media is very
controlled.
Very controlled. I don't know. I don't know what their purpose would be. I mean, because
it's a great meme of it's DeWine's face over top of the principal from the Breakfast Club.
Oh, I have seen that.
What does it say?
It says, keep complaining about the quarantine. You just bought yourself another month. You want to keep going, pal? We can do this all 2020.
Meanie, miny.
Oh, geez. I don't know what sense it would serve in them reporting a death. I mean, because something had to have leaked that they decided to report that he had possibly died. Someone leaked some sort of information.
There were reports coming out of Korea and China is where it originally
in Japan
came
as well.
From. In Japan.
So it's like I'm saying, someone leaked something that got out. I don't know what purpose it would serve to redact it or whatever. Anyways, just for the sake of full disclosure, last week we announced one thing. This week it's supposedly different. We'll find out, I guess, what the truth is someday. But apparently, Kim Jong-un is still living, still has no butthole, is still a god amongst men. And until further notice, he is the leader of North Korea. So I guess Dave and whatever his name is from the interview failed. And they did not successfully take out
Peanut Butter and Jelly,
the leader of North Korea.
Again.
I love that movie, man.
I've seen it like twice. That's it.
Oh,
I've only seen it once.
Watched it like twice in one night before. It's so you've only watched it one time?
I've only seen it once.
The interview with Seth Rogen and
James
Franco, and who plays the girl, the main female the one that's booby snatching. What does he call it? Your
I think she's hot too. What's her name?
She's in like Bridesmaids.
Lizzie Kaplan.
Oh, is that who it was?
Yeah.
Who plays Kim Jong-un though? He's the one guy. He's in that Always Be My Maybe.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
But wait, what do they call it? What is she doing to them? She's pussy tricking them, or what's the word they use?
I only saw it once, man.
Oh, damn it! I don't know.
I can't
Whatever,
remember.
guys. Just the movie's funny.
Great radio.
Yeah, great radio. Check out the interview. I like when they're singing Katy Perry in the tank.
Yeah.
It's a fucking good movie.
Who's the celebrity that comes out during that one interview or whatever? He's interviewing him.
The one guy is Parks and Rec.
Or does he just have a fake hair? I'm trying to remember what. I see so many movies. I can't.
Yeah, I don't know. Either way, it's
Rob
worth
something.
It's worth checking out. It's a really, really good movie.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe.
That's it.
And he takes his hair off.
Rob Lowe.
Jesse with the assist. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh man, good movie. Yeah, that's it for Let's Get Social. We got one more thing to hit on in Made to Motivate, and we're gonna hop on over to there.
Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams. Yesterday, you said tomorrow. So just do it! Make your dreams come true! Just do it!
So it's
Made to Motivate. One little topic for Made to Motivate that's COVID related that Chris would like to talk about, and it's like a Praise India 220 or something. What's it? What are we talk? What is it?
So basically, India, the country of India, has gotten hit pretty hard over this whole COVID nightmare that we've all gone through. There are going to be a bunch of stars are raising funds to give them some relief. Mick Jagger, Will Smith are just some of the names to perform on I for India tomorrow night, beginning at 7:00 on Facebook Live. Some of the other names featured from performers to just appearances: Nick Jonas, Brian Adams,
Brian Adams,
Joe Jonas and his wife Sophie Turner. I had no idea they were married. Jay Sean, Mindy Kaling. Those are just a few of the names that will appear tomorrow.
Mindy Kaling from The Office.
Yes, sir.
She was like one of my least favorite characters on that show. She drove me insane.
Wait, who is she?
Mindy Kaling plays
she's
plays
the Indian actress who's in
what's her name in the show?
She's in Late Night.
Kelly.
Yeah,
Kelly.
You didn't like her?
She drove me insane.
She's one of the main producers with
she
what's
is
his name?
So over the top and obnoxious.
Oh man, she's
her
great.
and Ryan just drove me insane.
They're like the two of the main
Oh,
producers for The Office.
God.
They wrote a bunch of those episodes.
She drove me nuts, bro. She kind of annoys me in general, but I wonder why India.
Yeah, I was kind of reading on specifically. I honestly think, and I've seen their numbers. Their numbers are bad, but I mean it's pretty much the same as it is everywhere else. They're not like a top 3.
We didn't do like a concert fundraiser for China.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess they just see that as a place to seek out, and that's what they're doing. I'm looking at the poster now, and
what's it look like?
Well, a lot of India appearances, like as far as Indian celebrities go. So I think this is just something to show pride in their country.
Is there like an actual like? Oh, let me see. Wow. I put IEYE in my notes.
That's all right.
Why would it be an eyeball?
I even pointed out. I was like, I like this, and you guys didn't say anything.
It should be like
because we love making you look dumb.
Make me look like an idiot.
Maybe it's an iPhone ad.
It's like an iPhone.
Watch India's biggest ever concert to raise funds for those affected by COVID-19. That's a pretty long list.
Yeah. So, I mean, they said it's going to be a 4-hour concert beginning at 7:00 tomorrow.
Damn.
So if you want to watch it,
where do we know where it's going to be like filmed at? Like, where the actual concert is taking place, or are there going to be like multiple locations since it's just on Facebook Live? I'm curious if they're like actually going to have.
Is MIA going to be there?
A stage setup or something.
Yes, different places. This says Washington. One says India itself. I cannot pronounce that title. But yeah, it looks like they are going to be in separate places. I would imagine
they
so.
Got
anyway.
a social distance. So
yeah, there's too many celebrities on there. That
Will Smith.
You said a couple of Indian celebrities. MIA, Aziz.
MIA is on there. I did not see Aziz. I would think so.
Aziz is from Carolina, so I guess you wouldn't know.
Speaking of Indian celebrities, the guy from Jurassic World passed away.
Oh yeah, what's
something Khan? Euron Khan.
Yeah,
guy from Jurassic World.
Yeah, he played the guy that reprised the role of Slumdog, and wow, I'm drawing a blank right now.
Aaron Kafan, I thought was his name.
Yeah, something like that.
KHAF.
He was battling some kind of weird disease, or it wasn't COVID related. It was something else that he was battling, and he passed away last week.
Hold on.
He played the main role, the guy that took over running the island and stuff.
I cannot think of who that is.
Have you seen Jurassic World?
Yes.
The one that flies the helicopter. He's like getting his helicopter license, and he's like, "Oh, we'll be okay. Just sit back there and relax." He ends up crashing and dying.
This was obviously memorable to
I'm
Jesse.
looking at
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Okay. I got him.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Sam Lloyd died this week too.
Yeah, I saw
He
that.
was the lawyer from Scrubs.
Never watched it.
Oh, it's a great show.
Wow.
And it's probably one of my favorite roles that he's ever been in.
Mhm.
He's just like this terrible lawyer who's always like depressed and down on his luck and everything. But yeah, one of my favorite characters. He passed away. He had a brain tumor.
Damn. Did they mark it as COVID?
I don't know, probably
Of course they
if he
did.
had it. But there's one scene that I absolutely love, and it's kind of, bad taste. He didn't kill himself, but the scene where
Jeez.
they go in and
This
they're
is
like,
great TV.
"Yeah, whatever.
The thoughts and comments of Jesse Young do not reflect the Made to Motivate podcast in any way.
Lord.
But they're like, Ted, why do you have this smiley ball and a gun in your desk? And he's like, one is for if I get sad, and one's for if I get
Man.
really sad.
Wow.
It's great.
I wanna
It
say
could
I've
never
seen
be on
that
TV
episode.
today. I've watched Scrubs all the way through like 3 times.
That's a good show.
Yeah,
It's so good.
I just never really got into it. I think I turned on an episode or two here, but it had the guy from what was that movie with Alicia Silverstone?
Zach
Clueless.
Braff. Paul Rudd.
Clueless. The one nurse guy. I don't know. Whatever.
Black guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
what's his
Donald
name?
Faison.
Oh, I
That
don't know
his
his
name's
real name. I just know him
Donald
as Turk.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was from Clueless.
Huh. Yeah, he was. Now that you say that. Yeah, that's a great show. Fun fact, most medically accurate TV show on TV. More
Really?
than ER, Grey's Anatomy.
More than
everything.
House?
House? Yeah, I was gonna say
All of it.
House.
All of it.
Scrubs?
They've said that it is deemed the most medically accurate, like medical drama comedy show ever.
Wow, a comedy. Wow.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, not my thing.
I'm thinking about Donald Faison and Clueless now. Woman, you can't drive for shit.
Dude, I love right? Dude, I loved Alicia Silverstone in that movie. Then she went on to play an awful freaking Batgirl.
Oh,
What an awful movie.
We won't
that
talk
was.
about that.
Yeah, she was cute though. I liked her a lot.
yeah, it's a Batman credit card. Yay.
Oh my god, how awful. Yeah, so that's all for Made to Motivate though. I for India tomorrow, Facebook Live, 7:00 fundraising. I guess you could probably donate through something on there. I don't know.
They'll have a link.
They'll have something.
We'll have some kind of link. I wonder who's heading it up. Like who's
Zuckerberg.
From what Mick Jagger was top billing, so they said Mick Jagger and Will Smith were like the two of the hosts.
Yeah, I wonder like the organizers of it or
I think
something?
I think it's multiple hosts for the different stages. So
Gotcha. I'm just curious who's allocating the funds, where those are going to. Because Zuckerberg, I don't.
right, you know what Will Smith's gonna do? He's gonna get on there. He's gonna say it's rewind time.
Yeah,
It's rewind time.
I'm a big Will Smith fan. Well, I think that's it. Anything else you guys want to close out with? First show back live in studio.
Felt great.
Definitely feels better to be all together and recording. I do. Let us know if you like us still doing a live stream. And in addition, we're going to be back to
Podcast format.
doing the podcast format, loaded up every Tuesday, great sound quality, like full show. But we thought for some extra content just for the Facebook page and stuff, doing the live would be something for you guys to be able to interact with while we're recording. So if you like it, just comment. We appreciate any shares and stuff like that. Make sure you're subscribed to us on any of your podcast sites. You can listen directly through our Buzzsprout site, or again, pretty much anywhere podcasts are at. Apple Podcasts, Google, Pandora, Spotify, iHeartRadio. We're on there. Give them a listen. Go back, listen to our other episodes. Otherwise, until next time, that's all for now, and we will catch you guys next week.
See you guys
later.
Podcast.